right, guys, welcome to Cleveland Moto podcast number 356. And they're off. Oh, good. That was a vibrant exit. I got a little bit on my hand. a little oops. It smells like Christmas. Not Chris Smith. It smells like Christmas. Doesn't smell like Chris Smith.
It doesn't happen very often.
There you go. And so to my left tonight for our 356 podcast, Dan KROMKE.
Yeah.
Dan, what'd you bring?
I brought the Little Drummer Boy whiskey.
Brought the Little Drummer Boy.
Johnny Drum.
Look, and this is another thing. If you pay attention to this podcast, I hope you've learned a few things. Most importantly, I hope you learned that every time he recommends a liquor, it's solid gold.
Oh, yeah.
And the first thing that you recommended to us was what? Our favorite rum.
Oh, Stro.
Yeah, Stro. thanks to
You
Stro.
say our favorite rum? I don't know about that.
Oh, man. Thanks to Johnny. I mean, seriously, thanks to Dan KROMKE. Thanks to him. And for the record, I'm going to be sloppy. I've had 4 already. We did a little pre-gaming. So thanks to Dan KROMKE, we found out about Stro. And I didn't know about Stro. And more people have called our podcast and texted our podcast from a gutter with a policeman next to him. With a cop asking us why this guy smells like butterscotch, spiced butterscotch.
Whoa.
He's got a great sense of humor, and he smells like spiced butterscotch, and he keeps saying Cleveland Moto podcast. Tell folks about what Stro is.
Stro is the national spirit of Austria.
And when you think of good rum, Austria is the first thing that comes to mind. The sugar cane
Centuries
fields of Austria.
Of rum making in Austria.
It was like the Dutch got kicked out of the Indies and out of the Caribbean.
Fuck, let's go to Austria.
Yeah, and they're like, fuck it, let's go to Austria. We can grow cane in Austria. That stuff is crazy.
So I also brought a bottle of Santa Claus. It's a Christmas beer made in Austria.
Of course.
Santa Claus?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Oh, there you go.
All right.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Father Christmas, I think.
2006.
2000. Whoa. Holy crap. That beer can almost drive.
Yeah, this is 14%. So
It's almost a cheer wine. Yeah, right. I get it. So that's very cool. And so that's damn near driving age.
It's the world's most extraordinary beverage.
Well, I don't know. I think Stroh's got something to say about that.
So, Dan, is that Santa Claus, is that served cold or is that served room temperature?
in between. Probably like 50.
Lightly chilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a tiny bit frosty. So thank you very much for also introducing us into Johnny Drum, because Johnny Drum is amazing, affordable, good drinking Kentucky bourbon. Like, we have a bottle at the house now and we love it. And it's not expensive, guys.
In the dishwasher.
In the dishwasher. Anybody who's watched our podcast, I've turned my dishwasher into a bar. And it's the best thing that ever happened to that dishwasher. It's remarkable how all the little things that hold your plates and stuff hold liquor bottles perfectly. And then the rack for your utensils is all just the bitters. And the bitters and the straws and the stirrers, they just go in there perfectly. So,
And the airway bottles.
the airway bottles. The airline bottles come in handy. Merritt just went to a Christmas party at her school, and she came home with 5 or 6 airline bottles of horrible shit. Like, truly aperitifs that are like, cinnamon, chocolate flavored brandy or whatever, awful stuff. But to have one of those hanging around just to put a little edge on some coffee, not a bad idea. When you want to seem fancy for the friends, not a bad thing to do. So
I always score a handful of those every time I go to the liquor store.
yeah, they're good to have around. Yeah, they're just a good. And when we went to the Portland One show,
Yes.
we grabbed a whole bunch of airline bottles.
Perfect.
And that was perfect for just having them in your pockets. And you're like, oh, look, I got a Coke. And now I got a cocktail. Yeah, it was so cool. And then we would go back and refill our airline bottles with the big bottles we bought so we could replenish for day 2. Yeah, super fun, super cool. Well, that's great, man. And then to his left,
Steve Sleepy.
Sleepy,
Back from the dead.
back from the COVID and sporting the proper Grinch attire.
The cinch.
The Grinch, the cinch.
I tried
You're
to
a
change
mean one, Mr. Cinch.
I more or less identify with the
Stink,
stink,
stank,
stunk. Exactly.
Right on, man. Yeah, that's super cool. We shot some Moto stories before we went live tonight.
Yep.
And we did some Christmas moto stories, which are super fun. We asked the guys what they want for Christmas. Only one of them got what they asked for. You can guess which one, but only one of them asked for the right gift. But it was fun. And Sleepy got out here early and put all the cool lights up and just got everything dialed in so we could shoot some rapid fire moto stories with Unkie Phil. And that was a blast. It was so much fun.
No pun intended.
Yeah. That's it. Super cool. Absolutely super cool. And then to his left,
Chris Smith.
Chris brought the thunder tonight. Explain to the folks the charcuterie that you brought.
Well, I stopped down at the old what the hell's the name of that
Ohio
place?
Provisions.
Ohio Provisions, yeah.
Oh,
thanks,
it's my friend Adam.
Adam Lambert.
Adam Lambert. Oh, look him up, man. Adam
This is
Lambert.
the highest of highest ends meats in Cleveland.
I had the saucignon, and the saucignon is to die for. It's so good. Yeah, it's so rich.
So I was down there and I saw some steaks. I called Mrs. Smith. Hey, would you like a steak? She says, yeah. So he got me 2 steaks, and it wasn't until he rang it up that I noticed that the steaks were $29 a pound.
Eek.
So I think I had about $60 or $80 worth of steak.
Worth a steak.
Yeah, because one of them was about 3 inches thick.
Oh, yeah.
We went to McConnell's, which is they own a farm. It's a farm out in Oberlin.
Yep.
And now they've opened up their own little meat market right there. So
Yeah.
you're literally eating a cow that was grown right there.
Oh, yeah.
And I grabbed a nice porterhouse. I'm like, this is for lunch.
This is
by
for
the way.
lunch. Do you know, here's the cool thing about buying meat.
It was a $22 porterhouse.
Oh, yeah.
I pass that place every day on the way to work.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
That's very tempting. So the deal with buying your meat from, the whole goal of having Adam's meat in your mouth is because the trick with Adam is in the country and Adam runs a farm, right? So I'll get that for you. So Adam's farm is whatever cow you bought, he knows the name.
Yeah.
So like his kids raise the animals. And so like this funny thing, because the kids now have like, this is Dora and she's going to be delicious because we love her. And so all the meat
We've been massaging her with butter.
yeah, all the meat that you buy from Ohio City Provisions is all very much loved animals. Like, so all the animals that he does, everything he butchers is something that his family has lovingly raised.
We had her on a diet of chocolate milk for 6
Yeah.
months before.
They like to say it's grass-fed and chocolate milk finished.
Yeah.
So that's when you're getting a good steak, is when it can identify Dairyman's whole chocolate milk
Look,
coming
it's a
out.
brown cow. Let's call it Hershey.
Exactly.
When I was
nice finish.
when I was growing up, my dad's family lived in Selanesville, Ohio, and they had a farm. And I think I was like 5 years old or 6. And they told me that if I pumped the cow's tail, it would make chocolate milk.
Oh,
So
really?
I went over there and I'm waggling this cow's tail and it just shit all over me.
Oh, so it didn't make chocolate milk; it made pudding.
I'd pay anything to see a video of that.
made
Well,
pudding.
So my dad and his my uncles and all that, I think they were literally on the ground.
They had to be
laughing.
dying. They just had to be dying.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was the same time when they had the Browning high-powered rifle, maybe
Yeah.
a year or so later.
Yeah.
And so they said, "Oh no, there's no recoil."
No.
And they put me on the thing, and I pulled the trigger and did about 9 somersaults backwards. But the best part was, my dad didn't care about that. He
Right.
grabbed the gun.
Of course.
So as I was
Yeah.
flying through the air, he grabbed the gun.
Kids are hard to hurt.
Yeah.
They're just hard to hurt. So you brought out so much food. You brought out so much meat. So people will be getting up in the course of this podcast to go replenish on
And
the
cheese.
and
Yeah, we got
cheese.
4 different kinds of cheese.
Yeah, it's really a
Kinds of
nice.
Smokies.
It's a really nice spread. That's really good.
So everybody has to eat till they can't breathe.
That's true, and we
I'm gonna
can
wait
do
till
that.
after the podcast to do that.
Oh, you're just going to throw down? Nice. That's a good idea. I visited the table, the charcuterie table. I visited it 4 times already. Had something different each time. It's fucking delicious. So good. It's great. And so thank you for bringing the charcuterie, man.
Very
That's
welcome.
so
Yeah, I'm
that's
glad
so
I could
fantastic. It's much appreciated, and we haven't had some charcuterie in a long time because of the COVID and everything else. So this is a nice thing to be able to have that again. I feel like we're living above our means when you bring, because I would never buy that for myself. I mean, ever. This is crazy. This is nuts. So
Your
yeah.
floor enjoyed it too.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be it'll be a
Is that yours that I spilled?
it'll be a stinky
No,
but sweet spot.
I gave you mine because you bought it. I don't want you to not have it. No, it's all right, dude. Go ahead.
You don't need much of this.
Really? It's,
Yeah, I'll just
This-
take
yeah.
this little tiny bit, and then you
Yeah.
have that. That's fine.
Yeah, okay, that's
Hey,
fair.
Hey, Phil, why was Dad
That's fine.
upset when he got a sweater for Christmas?
Ooh, I don't know.
Because he wanted a screamer or a moaner.
Then I must admit I'm a sweater.
We got more.
We got more. That's good.
I got a sweater.
Thanks
sweater.
to 64 degrees in December,
Yeah.
I'm sweating my balls
Yeah,
off.
the Grinch over here's got an extra layer on.
This was
For
a good
sure.
idea a week ago when it was 30.
Oh, when it was frozen outside, it was a really good idea. But getting the Indian summer that we got today, ooh, I'm riding all the bikes around, like
Yeah.
doing everything before winter storage and stuff because I know that they're about to resalt us.
Oh, yeah.
So at any moment we're going to get resalted. But like today was a gift. Today, like riding a bike out there today was magical. Like, and it was that crazy winter when you're like, I know it only says it's 55, but I'm certain it's 70. You know, when I rode in this morning, I couldn't believe how warm it was when I went out to the garage. Pulled the bike out with no windshield or anything, no heated grips, no windshield. I'm just going to enjoy the weather. And I looked down at my watch and I was like, it's 55 degrees.
It was warmer
Didn't feel
outside
like it.
than in my house today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I went to the warehouse today and it was way warmer outside than it was in the warehouse.
Yeah.
So that's really funny. But
Which that
God,
brings to get, that's the worst time though, because then the hot, humid air
Yeah.
blows into your garage, and
Yep.
that's when you get the sweat.
That's when you get the sweats, baby. Yeah, because I've got 2 fans going in the warehouse right now. So I got a fan pushing air at the bikes and a fan pulling the air off the bikes. The warehouse, every year I kind of post a picture up when I get my warehouse set. I'm weird about stuff. I mean, people know that, but I'm particularly weird about my warehouse. So I won't go on Christmas break. I won't leave or go anywhere until my warehouse is set. And my warehouse has to be set just so. Everything needs to be on a battery tender, which is actually technically in my world an Optimate, but that's the way we roll. And Chris gave me his 4-channel. He's got a 4-channel battery tender.
Nice.
So he's got 4 bikes in there. So he's got all his bikes are on feed. And it's funny because like when I spent all day Monday, I spent 12 hours in the warehouse just putting boat gas in bikes. And just, kind of looking at everything, putting the bikes up, getting the right amount of space between them, getting them all on Optimates, and getting everything set just so. And then it's like, I'm drinking a beer, and I'm sitting back in the warehouse, and I'm just kind of looking at my work. And I'm like, I'm just so fucking proud. I get like an overwhelming sense of joy from looking at a well-scheduled warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, those bikes over there against the wall, they mean nothing to me. Those could all disappear. If I ever decided like, oh, we're just going to have a crazy Phil's Uncle Christmas sale. And I have people come in and be like, what's for sale? Anything along that wall.
Yeah, that's
Right?
the Mid-Ohio wall.
It's the Mid-Ohio wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys know last year when we went to Mid-Ohio, we cleared the whole wall off, right? But more bikes get added to that. And it was fun because I went into the trailer from Mid-Ohio and there were still beers in there. So I was like,
Hey.
the gods giveth.
Opportunity knocks.
That was exactly
Beers
it.
are here. I'm here.
I was great. I had so much fun. And I'm sitting there and I got the music going and I'm kind of just moving the bikes around. And like, I will arrange the motorcycles in width. Like, so I'd be like, so if I had to sneak one out in an emergency to get one out for a customer or something, I could just easily get the bike out without moving anything
Did you
else.
bring some of those beers back here?
Did you look?
Well, I went in the fridge and I grabbed the Coors Light.
Right.
And the beer in the can tasted all right, but the
Yeah.
outside of the can
Was beat up.
Was like musty, moldy,
Yeah.
cooler. Oh, I know where this came from.
Well, so because of our friend Dan, who brought us beers from Rheingeist,
Yeah, a bunch
so
of
I
Rheingeist.
brought over 2 or 3 12-packs of the IPA, and then we also had the Bubbles, which is the champagne of beers.
Yeah, it's good.
And so we brought some of those that were left over in the trailer I didn't even know about.
Did I notice a couple of Rolling Rocks in there?
You did. You did notice a couple of Rolling Locks. And there's a couple of giant Heinekens.
I saw those.
Those are at least 3 years old. So at some point, they're like mega Heinekens.
Yeah, but you can't tell. Heineken comes skunked.
Exactly. Yeah, how would you
I
even
don't
know
like
if it was
anything in
Oh,
a
it's
green
skunked
bottle.
and oxidized.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So right out of the bat. So I've got those 2 giant bottles of Heineken that I won't even give the homeless people next door. Like, I just can't do it. I can't
You
have
want them to
that.
still like you.
Exactly. I can't have them throwing those bottles at my business.
But you were talking about your warehouse.
Yeah.
So I still need one more for my little fleet. But I'm still at that point where like I wake up in the morning at
Yeah.
the new house. I'm like, ugh, and I'm like, does that garage exist? And I run downstairs, open the door, and I'm like,
Oh, your garage is so big.
it's nice.
Yeah.
But
not. That thing's going to be packed tighter than a fucking sardine can.
Have you seen my 6-car garage?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what yours is going to look like.
I know.
That's exactly
But
it.
I still like it's like when I was growing up, I always dreamt of the RM80 that was never there.
Right.
So I keep fearing when I wake up that my shit isn't there.
It's not going to be there.
And I run down and I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, when I look at pictures of your garage right now, I'm just like, yeah.
I remember that.
That's a curse.
So Cinch, how soon before you need a second floor built in?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's coming.
Yeah.
That's the same way.
Ramp.
Well, if I keep going with my
Or a
wife
lift.
the way I'm going,
Yeah.
she's going to demand that I just live out there soon.
When
So-
I built my garage, instead of putting the studs 24 on center,
Yeah.
I put the studs 16 on center so I could put a second floor in it. So, and everybody's like, the garage is already ridiculously tall. You guys have all seen my garage. It shouldn't be that tall. But I had an Airstream that I was going to restore in the garage, and it had to fit through the door. So I got a 10-foot industrial roll-up door, and I did my Airstream on a rotisserie, right?
Yeah.
So I needed the space. So I couldn't have any studs below 10 feet. So all my studs are at 12 feet.
Plus, you got a lift in there, too.
And I got a car lift in there, so we got to be able to lift the cars. Even things like a full-size Ford Econoline van's got to be able to lift up high enough I can walk under it.
Right.
Because if you're gonna fucking do it, do it.
Yep.
And I built that garage, and when I built it, and I had the front door is massive and the side door is smaller, so we can get the motorcycles in and out.
Sure.
And I built that whole thing with with the greatest of intentions. My workshop's going to be over here. Right. I can second story this whole area above the workshop. I have extra storage up there. It's been like 10 years and none of that has happened. I want a second story so bad, but again, we just haven't gotten there yet. Second story is just for storage.
You got to wait till lumber comes down.
That's the point. Yeah. Once it does, we'll do that. Yeah.
So when you were building that, did the
Yeah.
city come by at all? And
So
check the.
well, there was a lot of things. I had asked for the height of a garage that I had asked for, and they said no. But fortunately, the guy behind my house had built a very, very large garage as well. So I was able to use his roof line as my guide for mine. So if he was allowed to have it, I'm allowed to have it. But his is on like a 2-car garage, and mine's on a 6-car garage. But I was like, you can't tell me no. And every once in a while, the building inspector will come by, like, because he sees me working on motorcycles and shit. He just pops in because he's a nice guy. And he comes in, he's like, yeah, he goes, you really got away with this one. And I'm like, but it's beautiful and it's awesome. And he's like, yeah, he goes, doing the shake shingle siding, just like you did the house. That was a good idea. That kept a lot of people happy because we were pretty sure that you were going to build this and it's going to look like an aircraft hangar.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a sheet metal covered building in the
So
backyard.
what happens when you put a second story? Is he going to lose his shit?
No, second story inside.
No. Inside.
Oh.
Inside.
I thought you were adding more.
No.
I thought you were going 40 feet up.
No, I'm going to. It's tall enough I can get not a stand up second story, but
Right.
a good loft
Yeah,
up there.
yeah.
And then I want to put a bunch of skylights in it. Just pump it, like put 8 or 10 skylights in
That's
there.
a good idea.
It'd be fun. Yeah, so it'd be a really good time. So I was kind of digging on that idea for the whole thing.
Hell yeah.
And it's just so when you've got your massive garage, it's fun because if you've ever seen Chris Smith's garage, that's a man who's living with a challenge right there. Because his house is built on an impossibly shaped lot.
Right.
Like your house is on a corner.
Close.
Yeah.
It's on a hump. It's like a hump.
It's on a trapezoid.
Yeah.
It is.
Essentially.
It is. It's a trapezoid.
Yeah.
It's like you have an impossibly shaped lot. Yeah.
Then we enter the garage from the rear.
Yes, exactly. Rear entrance only.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny is like I look like back and I don't know how I fit
Well, how
all this
appropriate
shit.
for the Janus.
For the
Oh, yeah.
Janus, it only goes in from back door.
But it's amazing
Smile
like,
when you
when
say
you don't
that.
have options and when you only have limited space,
Yeah.
how much shit you can fit into a small garage.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I laughed when I saw your bikes all sprawled out like that. I'm like, you didn't even slide them together. You didn't
No.
even like pack them in.
The motorcycle section of my garage, there's no sunlight between the bikes. They're kissing. They're kissing cousins, all of them.
Like you can walk between each bike. I'm like, that's not going to be
I
that
let
way.
a little breathing room right now.
all
you
the
know?
bikes that don't run in my garage that I just like to worship occasionally, they're all kissing each other. They're like right up against each other. No chance of being pulled out.
like butts did nuts because
yeah.
like you said
Oh,
with
yeah.
the handlebars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They-
You could pull one bike out without having to move another.
Yeah.
no way.
I know.
No, that's on the other side of my garage where I have the riders. Like
Yeah.
the daily
Yeah,
riders
yeah.
are over there, so they can be all pulled out at a moment's notice. And then I got 3 Japanese cars jammed in there.
Right.
So the Japanese cars all got to come out for any bike to come out. So this morning it was funny because I was like, okay, I'm going to take the Harley. I'm like, nope, not going to take the Harley. Okay, I'm going to take the Husqvarna.
What does your key drawer look like?
Oh, so I have 2. So when you go into my house, I have a key thing right next to the front door that has 12 hooks on it.
Yeah.
And those are all like the cars that are in the garage, the front garage, the garage that's hooked to the house. And then whatever cars are in the driveway, those are all there. And then in the garage mahal in the back, I've got the keyboard there for all the vehicles that are in the garage.
Okay.
And then a very elaborate coding system so that if you were to go in, you'd be like, oh, this is the key for that. It's not.
Yeah.
It's an anti-theft system.
Sure.
Yeah. It's intentionally designed to fool you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll take you an extra while if you break into my garage to try to figure out what bike the keys go to. So it's not even anything weird like put Honda keys, like a Honda keychain on a Harley bike.
Sure.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
No.
But anyway. But yeah, mostly it's just having nosy neighbors.
Right.
I've got retired nosy neighbors that never leave the house. So I don't really need the alarm system I have. Useless, because I've got neighbors on both sides that are like, hey, I noticed there was somebody that was in your backyard and they were dropping off. They put a motorcycle in your backyard. I was like, as long as they didn't take one,
Yeah,
we're
right.
good.
We'll take all we're going to put in there.
Right, that's fine.
Or which one do they take? The one that I was giving away for free? Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Oh, yeah. I've done a few of those. I've done a few of those where I've put on Facebook. I was like, if anybody wants this Honda CB360, this is my address. It's behind the house. Take it.
Yeah.
The title and the keys are in the gas grill.
Yeah.
It's just like, make it go away.
Hey, so on the face page, John Graham from Northern Ireland
Yeah.
says that I'll lend you guys bikes if you fancy heading to Belfast, Ireland.
Oh, hell yes.
So we're getting comments on the
We're getting
face
comments
page.
on the face page, man. Right on. Good to hear from you, dude. Thank you. And we all love what's not to love. I mean, we'll go over there and we'll go to Isle of Man when there aren't races.
Well, they have that famous movie right now, the Belfast movie.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Dave
true.
Frederick says 3 stars. Turn up. Can't hear your shit.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
man.
go to the YouTube.
Yeah, turn up your speakers because right now all we're running on is my iPhone. So all these microphones are going into the board, and those are all going out to our YouTube channel and stuff. So that'll be up in a few days.
And we couldn't pipe it into the iPhone because
Right.
iPhone does the stupid thing where
Yep.
you don't have an input.
That's exactly right.
So you
Yep.
either have the power or
Right.
you have nothing.
Right, and that's just what happened. So there you have it. So that's what we got. And then last but certainly not least is Johnny Mac. Johnny Mac, what did you get? What did you ask Santa for? Oh, are you
I'm
playing?
watching myself.
Oh, you're watching yourself on it. It's so fascinating. I've intentionally made sure that I can't do that. So you came in, you had a meeting with
Johnny Mac.
Johnny Mac, that's right. And so you had your sit down with Santa Claus.
I did.
Yeah. And how did that go?
It went spectacularly.
I don't think so.
Why?
I watched you get into the sleigh.
Well, that was a different story. Getting in and out of the sidecar, let's just say it's not as easy as it used to be, maybe. It never was easy, but it's not easy at all now.
We have, we've got some great friends at the Motorcycles and Misfits, and we've got some great friends at Moto that are also podcast people that do motorcycle stuff. And what I thought was hilarious was the Misfits recently said, of all the people they wouldn't want to be in a fight with, they said they said Johnny Mac.
Yeah, right.
They were like straight up, if we're ever going to get in a bar fight, they all decided, they were like, the Cleveland Moto podcast would be our best podcast to choose as a backup.
Yep.
And they were like, particularly Johnny Mac.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's a smart move.
I always knew, you know he's a big guy, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know how much power is there. And then, so I had this wood burning stove. It's about 380 pounds.
Yeah.
And I tried to put it on a dolly and drag it up the steps.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it.
Right.
John came over and I literally helped like this. I was like, wow, man. And it went up the thing.
But he grabbed it like it was a lunchbox?
Yeah. Just in one hand.
I just got one delivered, and there were 2 guys trying to get it up my front steps.
Oh, really?
Hey, let me get this for you.
Yeah, and so if anybody if you haven't met Johnny McElfresh in person, if you can picture the world's strongest man competitions where they're taking big round rocks and setting them on top of large platforms,
Oh, yeah.
that's what he's perfect for.
Mm-hmm.
He is unbelievably powerful. We took a barn down on Steve Hoffert's property, and we're dicking
Took
around.
it down?
Okay, we lightly disassembled the front of it and burned down the rest. All right.
But there was it with chainsaws.
We attacked it with chainsaws from every direction.
and tractors and fire.
And at some point, I'm standing on a trailer that's hooked to a tractor with a chainsaw in my hand over my head, and I'm cutting loose an I-beam. So I'm cutting loose a metal I-beam that is undoubtedly going to fall on my head and kill me.
Yeah.
Right. And at one point, I tell John, I'm like, come over here and grab this trailer, realizing that the trailer is holding me, the chainsaw.
Yeah.
I'm at the far side of the trailer.
Right.
And I'm holding the beam up with one hand because I want to cut just enough wood away so that when we step aside, the beam just falls.
Right.
But I've also kind of got somebody else holding, I think you or Chris was holding my back, like to pull me away in case the damn thing dropped. And I looked over and John was holding the entire trailer. And I was like, wait a second. I weigh 210.
Yeah.
The trailer's easily another 500 or 600 pounds. Easy. And John was one-handing it while he was holding the tractor and holding everything together. And I was like, shit, he's strong.
Yeah.
It's just impossible how strong he is. And it was funny because he pulled the entire trailer towards the tractor. And I was like, oh, shit, man. So it's very funny. And we take it for granted because you're a big, lovable teddy bear. And we think it's great having you around.
Bumbles bounce.
But we forget that, you spent all of your childhood smashing people.
No, I got smashed. My brothers used to invite all their friends over to beat me up.
Oh, my God.
So it would be like 5 or 6,
And then you turned 3.
they were all 4 years older than me.
I was going to say.
It was
The
4
age gap had to
it was
be
like 4 or 5 on 1.
tremendous. Yeah. The age gap had to be fucking huge on that deal.
John, when did it narrow, though? When did you finally, your brother's friend said, all right, fuck
when
that, we're leaving John alone. We're not fucking with him anymore.
When I was 14.
I was going to say Cub Scouts. They gave the man a knife. Yeah.
I
That's
started
fantastic.
throwing things through windows.
Right. Yeah, there comes a point where you're just like, we're not going to pick on him anymore, okay? Just going to let you know.
They met the Johnny Mac who starts crying and then freaks out and goes into a
I did that. One time in my life, I got into a fight. I was well in over my head, and I just had to go. I just did. I did all the things, and I went berserker because I was getting my butt kicked, and I went berserker, and I realized halfway through that I was crying. But I was crying more water than was in my head. Like teardrops were flying out of my eyes, and I was so
rage.
upset. I was so fucking upset.
Yeah.
And I was just crying myself crazy. And my buddies who came to finally help me, my buddies showed up to help me, and they were like, we didn't want to get anywhere near you because it was haymakers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, oh man, but I was so embarrassed because I was just crying, like sobbing.
Yeah, but it
like
happens.
I was heaving. Yeah. And when it all got done, I was just heaving and I'm shaking and I'm shuddering and the whole deal. And I was just like, oh man, I'm so embarrassed. And I just kept wiping my tears. And they're like, no, you just killed 3 guys. Like you can cry all you want. You've earned it. If you want to suck your thumb right now, you go ahead.
Have at it.
Have at it. That was it.
You know what my favorite Johnny Mac though is the little more than slightly lubricated Mid-Ohio Johnny Mac when he turns into the whiskey fairy and goes,
Yes.
let's take a walk.
Let's take a
and
walk.
then he just introduces to everybody and just, hey, you need some booze?
Right. I love the let's take a walk.
Yeah,
Let's take a walk is the greatest time of the night. It's the best time of the night. So speaking of Mid-Ohio, because we love us some Mid-Ohio.
Yes, sir.
So our new patron saint of Mid-Ohio. Last year we got introduced to the guy who made Mid-Ohio easier for all of us. Mm-hmm. His name is Pete, and he's from northern Colorado.
Yep.
And Pete showed up to party. He drove, him and his brother, Swiggy, they drove all the way from northern Colorado to come to Mid-Ohio because they'd heard us bullshitting about it. Mm-hmm. And, big fucking news story. We love Mid-Ohio. We love AMA Vintage Days at Mid-Ohio.
But nobody's ever said that anything we said was not true. And
many people said it wasn't true, and then they showed up.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. Like nobody's said that, come to it,
Right.
and then not said, oh, they were right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that every time, like, people might think we oversell that event. Mm-mm. Oh, but Barber's great too. No, it's not so much. Not compared to Mid-Ohio.
Well, Chris's charcuterie would fit into Barber.
Yes, it would. That is
all right.
Okay, that is Barber level charcuterie. Charcuterie. Yeah, charcuterie. But Mid-Ohio is more like
I killed a deer with my car. You guys want to cut it up and eat it?
It's more of a Pepperidge Farm summer sausage that fell in the mud. That's what Mid-Ohio
remembers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers Mid-Ohio. And if somebody hands you a muddy 2-foot-long summer sausage,
you're gonna chomp
you're
on
at Mid-Ohio, and you're going to eat that without a knife.
Like a Slim Jim that's been left out in the sun and turned green a little bit.
Yes, that's Mid-Ohio. Hey, does this smell
Just
bad?
hose it off.
Yeah. Does this smell bad to you? And it's already got a bite out of it.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
Slim Jim. You can't kill a
You
Slim
can't kill a Slim Jim. It's already been killed.
Yeah.
So these guys are great. We love them so much. And if you're not familiar with what happened there, you look at your AMA American Motorcyclist magazine. You'll see a fella having well, let's just say non-consensual sex with a Stella motor scooter.
There's a video on Moto Stories with Unkie Phil. If you go
And by the
look.
way, if you go and find that video, that's something we need to send to Ozzy Man.
Yeah.
Because he loves that kind of shit.
Yeah,
He
and I
loves
did blur the twig and berries.
the twig and berries,
Yeah,
right?
so
That's true.
Yeah.
But this guy really does. He gives a Stella scooter what for au natural. But it's not enough. John rigged up 27 pounds of pyro.
The longest burning thing I've ever, like, I don't even know how, and it was this big and it lasted 45 minutes.
There are coal fires in Pennsylvania that didn't last as long as what he put on the guy's helmet. It's so true.
There's a couple mines that have already gone out, and that thing's
Yeah.
still burning.
Yeah, I know.
And the funny thing is, because it's a burnout contest, and everybody's huddled around you because they all want to smell the smoke and smell the sweat and the ball hair,
balls?
the ball cheese or whatever. He's the only guy who did it naked.
Yeah.
He's the only guy that did it on fire.
Oh, yeah.
He wins forever. 2 years ago, I did it on fire.
Right.
I did the flaming burnout, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, call a senator! This is the best thing we've ever seen."
And
now the bar has been raised to an unattainable goal.
But you know who brought down the thing?
Oh,
Was the guy that looked like the singer from NXS that came up later that was trying to be way too like sexy cool or something, or
was he
what?
the guy and his girlfriend were wearing chaps, the assless variety?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
And he had like he looked like whatever the guy from NXS.
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah. Well, he had rope burns around his neck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was,
There's no
Yeah.
such thing as assless chaps.
Exactly. All chaps are assless, or else they'd be pants. Yes. God love that. It just never gets old.
No.
So he, thanks, Chris, for setting me up on that one.
That's
I
right.
really
That's
appreciate that tap in. That was good. I like it.
Ding.
But Pete came out and Pete straight up fucking earned it. Like that afternoon, he started himself Saturday morning and just never slowed down. No. And like he went off-roading with a scooter and he went places.
No, he more than off-roaded. I
broke
was
it.
on the K100 that didn't have brakes.
The 8 of Espen, he killed it.
Oh, yeah, because I went down the hill
Yeah.
really faster than I wanted to, but
Yeah.
somehow, because it's kind of a dirt bike, I
Yeah.
survived.
You did.
I looked behind me, and
Yeah.
there was this sideways sliding bike.
No. It was one of those avalanche videos from like
Yeah.
Switzerland where they fire a cannon at the side of a mountain and then all the mountain comes down. That was Pete.
Yeah.
Pete came down the mountain.
There was all I know is that I heard a lot of metal bending.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It sounded like the world's slowest plane crash.
Yes.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Within the background, no.
Exactly.
No.
It was so bad. And long story short, he won Mid-Ohio, right?
Yeah.
So he won Mid-Ohio. So they do podcasts all the time. And I would like to preface this by an apology, right? I'm apologizing straight up. Somebody started the idea of doing top 10 lists. And I must warn you, I fucking hate top 10 lists. I cannot stand them. They go on, they're crushingly long and boring. And again, people who do them and don't understand, like the criteria have to be set in concrete. Like you've got to make fucking rules. Otherwise, everything goes out the window. You can't leave it up to opinion. So the Misfits did a really fun podcast, and it was about the top 10 of things. And they just totally forgot the idea of the definition of the word best. It's fine. Okay, we'll forgive them. We fixed it. Let's move on with the world.
Right.
And then NOCO came up. NOCO was like, okay, well, that's great. We want ClevelandMoto to fucking pat at us too. Like, don't ignore us.
Yeah, we'll make the same mistakes.
Yeah, poke the fucking bears, right? So they did. So they made a top 10 list. And so their top 10 list was of...
It was told to me
Yes.
that a comment was made
Yes.
that a certain Johnny Mac
Yeah.
was too fat to ride a small bike.
Again, and I've known you for a very long time, and I would say that if we could say that you're too big for anything, okay, the sidecar, which you proved tonight, you're not too big for.
Okay.
You might stipulate to that one.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Okay.
I don't really want to go back in that again.
Like, okay, root canal or back in the sidecar?
Root canal.
Fair. Fucking
What were
fair.
those torture devices, like the Victorian things where they close you in? And
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, I don't know.
Sidecar. You were funny because, like, you guys don't know, it didn't show up on camera, but when we were setting that shot up, Johnny was like, I can't breathe. Like, he was straight up like, I don't like this. I'm freaking out.
Claustrophobia.
And it is. I know we posted some pictures of Chris in the sidecar on the Buddy scooter, which was that little fiberglass Celtic scooter. And I was only worried then about the sidecar exploding around it. Seriously, I thought Chris was going to keep putting more and more of Chris into the sidecar, and eventually the fiberglass would yield.
Twing.
It would just be like, It'd be like those crescent rolls.
Yeah.
When you open the package,
Poppin'
just
fresh.
enough popping fresh. They just open right up. I thought that's where we were going.
That's what it's like when I take
my
my
new
pants off in the
nickname.
evening.
Popping fresh.
Poppin' fresh.
Popping fresh, Chris.
That's what it's like when I take my pants off in the evening.
Slink. But when you were getting in, this is a steel sidecar, and this sidecar is made in India. It's made
yield.
it's made to haul a family of 7, and like it's proper. So these Ender sidecars are like on the old Stibe design, like the old Stibe tooling. They're hard as fucking nails, and he kept feeding his body into it, and I was just like, you don't have to do it, man. You just don't have to do it.
I have to do it. Everybody else did it.
Oh man, peer pressure's a bitch.
It actually has a better shape now. It's
It
like a
does.
It's a little more aerodynamic.
He opened it up a little bit for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Well, Dan got in first, which was actually the proper sequence.
Right.
Because Dan got in first. Like Chris Franklin, he's narrow. We could have got Chris in first easy. But Dan got in first, and he goes in like, no big deal.
Smith was like a little snug in there, but
Yeah.
I bet you now he'd just fucking be perfect.
Oh, yeah, he could get in there now, no problem.
Now you can ring the bell and then
John's broke that sidecar in for him.
Yeah.
But back to our friend Pete from NOCO.
anyway, I'll write a Z50 right up your ass, Pete.
Exactly, right. Yeah, big guy in a small bike.
And I want to see Pete show up and say that to Johnny's face.
Exactly, also
I'm
true.
going to jump on a Z50 and run you down like a dog at next Mid-Ohio.
We did a TV show one time. Our buddy Mark put this amazing TV show together in his garage, and we brought mini bikes out. So we brought mini bikes out, and John brought out his Trail 70 with a sled. And I mean, this was proper Ohio deep ass snow, and this was really like the snow everybody gets stuck in. Like vehicles were on the side of the road going into the podcast or into the TV show. It was crazy. And we had a blast because it's such a good environment. We're all there. We're all in the garage. The heater's going. And we got like a comedian. We got a couple of bands. Like we really had a great...
Plenty of beer.
Plenty of beer, plenty of pizza. And it was one of those great things. And that was Mark McDermott, rest his soul, right? But he put on a really great event for us. And that was part of what he wanted to do before he died. And he put on this thing and we shot video and the whole deal. And what did we did? 5 or 6 episodes of that.
Yeah, Dirt's Garage.
Dirt's Garage. And it was magical. But it just got to the be where it became like a fun thing to bring a mini bike. And so you showed up with your Trail 70.
Yeah.
And the sled.
And the sled.
And the backyard's not big enough for shenanigans. But John has that Trail 70 dialed with a sled.
I loved riding in the snow.
In the snow.
Anything in the snow.
So fun.
I mean, Cinch has been up my ass to get a snowmobile, so I'm just working on it right now.
And one of our podcast listeners in Sweden.
That's what you told your wife, right?
Yeah.
Cinch is making me do it.
He said, I got property. We got to get a snow machine.
Yep.
One of our podcast listeners sent us a video, and we'll show it to you guys later, but it's of his Z50 with a ski where the front tire should be, and you should see him ripping around his property on that thing. It is unstoppable. So well done.
But I think the first thing I did on my CT70 was do an endo.
Yep.
I thought I was going to try to plow through this big pile of snow.
Yep.
Well, the big pile of snow was actually in a ditch.
It was in a ditch.
So when I hit the big pile of snow, I sunk into it. And I went, whoop, right over the
The bike flipped hard, but it's just snow. So John just ninja rolled out of it.
Bumble's bounce.
It was so good. It was so brilliant. But again, so when you talk about John being on a small bike, yeah, he lives for that shit. Yeah, that is not around here. We're totally used to that. When he got on the SSR 70, and we're rocking the SSR 70 around the front of the shop here, I could see the twinkle in John's eye because he's like, "This thing's electric start.
Yeah.
It's got a wiring harness. We can put lights on this thing. This is going to be great."
You know what's crazy about even the 70 or especially the 125?
Yeah.
People don't understand the torque that they make. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Oh, the 70.
So I totally got my brother. We were over at
yeah.
Bruce's house. I took it over there, and I was doing some hole shots. I was like, brah, 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 brah. I did a bunch of them, and I'm like, here, come on, do a hole shot.
Right.
And I knew what was going to
Oh,
happen.
you know what's going to happen.
Sure enough, he got out of
Whiskey throttle and just looped it.
two round around, and it spun it right into the ground.
Oh, hell yeah. Nobody appreciates how powerful those SSR 125s are. Because when you give them to a kid, that kid is not going to survive 4th grade.
Right.
Like, that's it. Just write that one off.
Even if he's on the honor roll.
Exactly. Yeah. He could be in 3rd and a half grade. He's not going to make it. Right. I'm going to tell you that the SSR 125s are freakishly powerful. They're as we like to call in the industry, retard strong.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're powerful. So anyway, our boys over at NOCO Moto Podcast, Swiggy and Pete, they came up with their top 10 list, and I'm just going to blast you through it real quick. The first one they did was the best small bike. Now, caveat, they had a rule that said it was from the 90s. Now, I actually appreciate that because I did a shit ton of motorcycle riding in the 90s. I mean, I rode to Alaska and back in the 90s. I rode to Florida and back. I rode to Texas and back. I rode to California and back in the 90s. I did a lot of riding in the 90s. Plus, I went on the Alpenstrasse tour in Germany. I did a lot of riding even out of the country because I was in the military, right? So they said they did make one rule. They were like, certain bikes don't count because they were like technically 99.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. So they said for the small bike of the 90s, the best small bike of the 90s was the Ninja 250. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. The CBR 250 of the 90s was not as good as the Ninja 250.
When you look at, let's talk about the Ninja 250.
Yep.
The Ninja 250 actually was the one who carved that niche.
Yeah, they did.
The Ninja 250,
The baby sport bike.
was here 10 years before there was a CBR 250.
And it was here 5 years before there was the 90s.
Yeah.
So what's amazing about that is I had one of the original like 86 Ninja 250s that didn't have front fairings on it. Like all the bodywork was at the back.
Yeah.
And it was red and white and fucking fantastically good driving to work at 85 miles an hour.
My favorite is the purple, green, and white
Yes.
one,
Yeah, that's the
That's
good
the one to
color.
get.
I agree with you completely. The Ninja 250 is a kick-ass choice. Oh, I love
Didn't
it.
it have a enclosed disc brake, or what was the front
No,
brake?
that was the VFR 250.
Okay.
So the VFR 250 had the inboard disc brake.
Right.
Yep.
But
So that was
still had a weird looking.
Yeah, it should
like
cover
it was
it,
like
yeah.
vented.
It was vented.
drum or something.
Certainly the EX 250, 500
Yep.
then would be like right alongside it
Yep.
and just as long lived. I mean, those
Absolutely. But I would say, if we have to make a criticism of the No Komodo list, I would say that the Rebel 250. Because for every one Ninja 250, they sold 17 Rebel 250s. And more people got their start riding a Rebel 250 than goddamn any other bike on the planet outside of a Honda, trail. I mean,
I love Hondas, but I tell you what, I'd rather
Honda
have
90
a Ninja
Passport.
250 than a Rebel 250.
Me too. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I know the Rebel 250 is a better product than the Ninja 250. The Rebel 250, we can tell you, we work on them all the time. And the fact that we're still working on bikes that were sold in 1986 and they're still out there running and surviving with 80,000 miles on them tells you how good a Rebel 250 is. So it's a great bike. Their next thing they said was the sport bike. And their sport bike pick was the Ducati 916. And on that, I got to say, fucking great job. It's a dead sexy bike. It is one of the sexiest motorcycles.
It is. It's iconic,
Ever.
but is it the best?
Well, again, we come into that, and the Cleveland Moto podcast
Well,
would always.
what was it doing on the racetrack during the 90s?
It was holding its
winning?
own. But again,
I don't know.
No, because there was a class problem.
Yeah.
Because the Ducati only had 2 cylinders. And when you got into super bike of that era, Ducati didn't have enough cylinders. They changed some rules
Wouldn't
around
the
for
Gixxer
Ducati.
kicked its ass?
And that's true. So, in the Cleveland Moto podcast, we usually just say best means fucking best. But I think what they're going for is a dynamic. And I do give them credit if they're going to have a category that says best sport bike. I'm going to step away from the way we normally do it and say it is the fucking best or it isn't the best. The Ducati 916, in the 10 categories they have, you have to give the laurel to Ducati 916 somewhere. And I think that giving it sport bike, it's earned its laurel.
It has. But at the same time, Honda,
And
in
that's where I
92
am.
and 93, they
Yeah.
came out with the CBR 900RR, which was a 600cc weight
Yep.
with 900cc
Yep.
power.
Oh, yeah.
Perfectly balanced bike. I mean, like you
Called it the Fireblade everywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And honestly, a CBR 900R, you have a lot of experience with the
I had 7 of them.
900R.
Yeah.
You
I've
had
had all the generations, 92, 95,
Yep.
98, all of them, several of them. And I mean, I've broken them to the point that they wouldn't even take them at a scrapyard.
Yep.
And then I've also completely stripped it down and made it perfect.
Yep.
Easy to work on. The balance point for wheelies was 10 feet.
Yeah.
It was
The-
more
I
people
can-
learn to be stupid on that bike.
I can tell you on the Ducati 916, the reason I have a strong sense of reverie or a reverence for the 916 is that I owned one. And
it had the best headlights in the history of
it
motorcycles.
did. Yep, it did. Side-by-side horizontal headlights are just distinctive as fuck. It belongs in the Guggenheim. It's gorgeous. And the reason I sold it, and I'm going to tell you, I had a yellow one. And the reason I sold it is because I was like, I'm not going to own a 916 that's yellow. I'm going to own a red 916. And I sold it back in the day when we sold things too cheaply. And now I regret it because I would be totally willing to live with the yellow 916. Yeah. And,
But it wasn't the most comfortable bike, though.
No, it did not.
No,
It
you
suffered.
cannot ride it for
I can't
very
ride it
long.
with this body.
No.
No.
Now, speaking of yellow, aren't you looking for a yellow Honda F6B?
Always looking for an F6B. Okay, we can come back to that. Stick a pin in that. I like the sound of that. So I do want to say, just a little parenthesis on the side, I do think that Cleveland Moto feels that the CBR 900RR is probably a better bike.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Probably a
overall,
better
like
bike.
I
longevity.
mean, I'll give you the Ducati if
Yeah.
you say so, because I've never ridden the Ducati.
Yeah.
I've never really ridden the CBR 900. What do I really know?
Just
It's an
looking
actually
at it.
fairly comfortable bike.
Yeah.
and it's still fast as
The
shit.
CBR 900 is
I know
comfortable.
me personally, I would rather have the CBR 900.
It's comfortable.
just because.
It's comfortable.
But
it's tractable. It's
Smooth
usable
as
power.
shit. Yeah.
Okay, so they're exotic. The next category was exotic. We're going to rip through these. The exotic was the Bimota DB, which is a Ducati motor as well, right? And here with Bimota, if it says after the word Bimota, if there's going to be 2 letters, and it'll be like if it has SB, then it's a Suzuki motor. S is Suzuki. If it says YB, then it's a Yamaha motor. If it says DB, then it's a Ducati motor. Because Bimota didn't build their own motors. Despite their name, they didn't build their own motors. They did all the other shit. And they did some really cool stuff. And this particular Bimota, its party piece was it had center hub steering.
So Moto
BI.
bought motors.
Yes. Bimota bought motors. That's what the BI stood for. Yeah. Yeah. So it had the center hub steering, and it did get a hell of a lot of press. Now, hats off to the Misfits, because I'm finally going to say something I never thought I would say.
I know it's coming.
Right?
I know it.
I never thought I would say the words, but they finally have a category where I can say that, yes, I believe the Britain
Yeah.
is the right bike for the best 90s exotic.
Yeah.
Because as much as we love our oval piston Honda NR 750, and they are dead sexy,
Yeah.
but they're very Honda. They're very it looks like it could be a production bike because it was a production bike.
Right.
The Britain is batshit crazy.
There's carbon fiber forks.
It has everything.
Yeah, right.
It's awesome. There is not a straight edge anywhere on the bike. It looks, even if you don't appreciate modern art, you can look at the Britain and be like, that's just fucking beautiful. And the story and the romance behind the guy that built it and everything, I think for best 90s exotic, if you didn't say Britain, you're wrong. And because it is 90s exotic. It's best not exotic ever. It's just what it is. Okay, the next category. So no Komodo was wrong on that one. The first 2, great. Okay, number 4, sport touring. Sport touring, I got to say, guys, you phoned it in, you cheated. They saw it sport touring. And what do they do? Sport touring? ST.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I understand. Honda did toss, they lofted one at you. They pitched you a softball. They said that the best sport touring bike of the 90s was the ST 1100. Now, I've owned a few. Chris, how do you feel about that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Why? What's a better sport touring bike?
The 12 million that
Yeah.
Kawasaki has, their concourse.
Yeah, that's it.
God. And that's been
Yeah.
since 1986 to
Yeah.
2000.
I have to totally agree that in a sport touring platform, I've had R1100 RTs from the 90s. I've had STs in the 1100 and the 1300 configuration. The concourse it's anything you want it to be. First of all, they make every goddamn thing for it. You can make it as wide or as narrow as you want. And at the middle of it is an amazing 4-cylinder 1000cc engine that can't be topped by anybody. Now, the ST is a V4 that is magical from Honda, and it's a wonderful police bike. It's a wonderful, and I put the emphasis on the ST very, very much towards the sport. Because the riding position, the body position of sitting on an ST is very weight forward. So if you're going to be sport touring, which means you're going to be doing 100 miles an hour for a full tank of gas, then I will lean towards the ST or a BMW R1100 RT. Absolutely. Or a Moto Guzzi Norge. Perfect for that. They all do that really, really well. But for actual sport touring, which means leaving home on Monday, going to Sturgis or going to Montana or going to San Diego.
Speculator, New York.
Going to speculate. Yeah, right? But going a place where you're going to have boxes of shit with you, park the bike, get off the bike, get on the bike, park the bike, get off the bike, get on the bike, and just sit upright. There's no stress on your arms. There's no stress on your upper body. Concourse are fucking hard to beat.
7-gallon tank.
Yeah, you can drive it for fucking ever, too. Of all those bikes, and I've had them all, I got to say, the one that I think the Concourse 1000, and you know what? It's one of those bikes like the Suzuki Bandit 1200, where every moto journalist in the world who's out there writing an article about how great the new ST 1300 is, ask him what he drove to the review. He drove a Concourse 1000 to the review. You know, that's just what it is. And that says a lot. If you can only own one motorcycle. So I got to say,
It's interesting you bring up that Bandit.
well, not in this category.
Not in this category.
Not in this category. So, but anyway, sport touring, I do feel strongly about that. Anybody else got an idea for a good sport touring?
I think
I personally, I'd take the ST over the
Yep.
Concourse
Yep.
just because I like I've
Shaft
always-
drive and yeah,
I
right.
like that bike. But
Me too.
Yeah.
No, there's a hell of a, and I'm not saying the ST's bad. I'm just saying in a shootout
I
between
don't
the two.
necessarily disagree that the
Yeah.
Kawasaki's better. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, if we did a 3,000, if we rode from New York to San Diego
but that's
and we
where-
could trade off bikes, the question is, which one would you like the best? So yeah, it's cool. Scooter. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Scooter. So in category, sport bike category, they made a declarative statement. They broke their own rules. They said that they wouldn't entertain the Yamaha R1. They wouldn't entertain the Yamaha R1, which is clearly better than the Ducati 916.
Yeah.
At going around a racetrack and doing what a
because it
sport
came
bike
in at
does.
99.
Exactly. Because it came in at 99. It was a 98 show bike. It was available in 99.
Yeah, you can't just if it was only 1 year in that decade, it's probably not.
And Pete agrees with you. I mean, Pete said the same thing. He's like, yeah, it's really hard to count it as a 90s bike. when it
because
was
what we
only
had
there.
always said was the best one is the last one they made because
Always.
it's the most future. It's probably the best.
But
one.
I think the R1,
You're right.
besides like the GSXR 750 in that era when they first came out,
Yep.
I think the R1 was the first, like, oh my God, this is what won on Sunday, and they detuned it by 5 horsepower, and I
exactly.
can buy it on Monday.
Absolutely.
Like it was a game changer in the fact of how much power and how fast it was.
I was a little scared the first time I rode an R1 in 99. The first R1
blue
I rode
one with the white
No, the red one with the white.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, the red and
Yeah.
white one. So I rode the red and white one first because the headlights just were so fucking sexy.
Oh, everything about it.
And I rode that bike on a demo, and I was terrified. I was just terrified. It would give you power anywhere you wanted to give you power. And I'd ridden a lot of leader class sport bikes, and nothing was like that. So, okay. So anyway, that's the rule. 1999 doesn't count. So because they fired that shot, then their next choice makes no goddamn sense. So their next choice was for best 90s scooter. And for that, they chose the Italjet Dragster. Again, I've had a few of these. And I sold a few of these because at this time of my life, I was working at a shop and we were Italjet, which meant that we made a phone call to a guy in New York that agreed to send us some Italjets. Shit was sloppy in the late 90s, early 2000s. The reason we can't call the Italjet Dragster, which is a very fucking cool and exotic scooter, the reason we can't call it the best scooter in 1990 is because I'm going to tell you I was a dealer and I could get Italjet 50s. In 99. But we didn't actually start getting Italjet 180s until 2000. So you couldn't have one. So I gotta discount that. You know, it was a 98 show bike. It was a 99 model year bike. 98 it was at the show, 99 it was available. So I gotta cut that out. So then that brings us to the very difficult choice. So what the fuck is the best scooter of the 90s? This is a hard one.
Yeah.
Because in the 90s, and honestly in the 80s, scooters kind of sucked. I mean,
Bajaj.
I'm right. So I started selling Bajaj Cheetahs in 2000, right? So in 2000, I started selling Bajaj Cheetahs, or 2001 too. So that rules them out. So it's like,
But they were
shit.
around before then.
Well, yes. And then we got to look at like, okay, so in the 80s, we had what? We had the Elite 250. That was kind of a rocket ship.
Well, I mean, you could have still, an Elite 250.
But then I started going, shit. And I wish Hoffert was here because I have no choice. I have to give it to the Helix.
A Helix.
A Helix. Because the Reflex wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
None of the sexy early 2000 bikes like the Majesty and all the other stuff, that wasn't out yet. I could pull some Euro bullshit thing and say Gilera Runner because it was technically, it was out already and it was a 2-stroke 180 and it didn't have the bullshit front end of an Italjet that was always breaking parts.
Yeah, hands down, a Helix would be the best scooter of the 90s.
Isn't that weird?
No, not really.
Okay.
They're still
I mean,
good
the-
now. I mean, you know.
the Helix is
Yeah.
legendary.
Again, so
I mean, if you want a 250 scooter that'll do 80 mile an hour
all day long,
like,
all day long.
People tour on them like
it is the best all around.
And
yes.
comfortable as fuck.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
low center of gravity.
Low center of gravity, easy to ride if you're 5 foot nothing.
Completely bone reliable.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
optional factory Kenwood stereo.
yeah.
if you could see Hoffer's right now,
Right.
it looks like it shouldn't run.
Yep.
It shouldn't drive.
No.
It shouldn't start.
Right.
And it does all those things.
does all of them.
fairly well.
And there's a movie with who's the Aquaman actor? Yeah, it doesn't matter. yeah.
Wow.
Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa.
The new one.
Oh,
the
the
new one.
new
He's in a movie. So he's in a movie that has. Oh, we have somebody here. He's in a movie where they're in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Yeah,
Doorman.
they're in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and they're the guys who have scooters. They're like some prison in the future.
Oh, yeah.
The people that have two-wheeled powered vehicles, they're all Helixes.
Oh, that's cool.
That's fucking cool. And you see Jason Momoa, big ass buff dude, rocking around on the the scooter. Hey, looks like we got a special guest come into the podcast. We got Denise. Come on over. Looks like she brought some Christmas cheer.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Denise. So this is Mrs. Smith, and she brought us some beers.
John, you're going to have to share
I
the
love
mic
it.
because I'm already I can't because I have to stop it and start
No,
it.
that's fine. Yeah, I have to share the mic with Denise.
Share the mic,
That's
or she
fine.
can share Chris's, right?
Yeah.
I think that might be more appropriate.
Right,
I
right.
would love to share it with you.
So Denise is here. Hey, Denise.
Hey, guys.
Here's your hat.
Yeah, you can have an elf hat if you'd like a elf hat. Yep.
I brought you some Christmas cheer.
Christmas cheer.
Your Christmas experience.
So all of our podcast listeners and stuff will know that in Cleveland we drink Great Lakes Christmas Fail because in Christmas Fail you end up in Christmas jail. Yep. Oh, you got the Holly Jolly too. That's also fantastic. The Holly Jolly is more in line with the original recipe, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Do you
What do you
mind
think
if
about
I
that?
grab one of those Christmas ales?
Yeah, probably.
I just
Probably,
finished
right?
My
'Cause-
first one. I'm
You
ready
know, the head brewer from Fatheads used to be an assistant brewer at
Exactly.
Great Lakes.
Right. So I think the Fatheads one is more like the way I remember Christmas ale from the first run. It's got a little more body to it. It's got a little more better flavor profile.
But the thing you got to remember about Christmas ale is it'll bite you.
Oh yeah.
My wife, the
Yeah.
night I proposed to her was December 23rd, 2010.
Oh yeah.
We went to Prosperity Social Club and she had 4 Christmas ales. And then she passed out and tried to kill me.
That's at least 2 or 3 too many.
Yeah, that's 30% alcohol by volume by wife.
Yeah,
that's
Well,
it.
she's 100 pounds, so that kicked her ass pretty
That
hard.
kicked 100% of her ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the way to do it. So on a technicality, I guess we're gonna have to say that the Intellijet Dragster was not the best scooter of the '90s. It in fact was the Honda Helix.
And
Yeah.
if somebody wants to go against that, I
Yeah.
want data to show why
exactly.
it's not.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's serious.
And as much as I hate doing
You
it,
can do a
talk.
cannonball run right now.
Right.
I know
And you'll
I
prove
got
it.
one
Right.
right.
Right. And like Craig Vetter with the aerodynamics testing and everything can prove to you that a Honda Helix 250 is just the best bike in the world.
Right.
Period.
It's not
fucking fantastic.
It's not the coolest. Well,
It's not the coolest.
I see where you're coming from with the
In
Intellijet
today's
Dragster.
now, here's the thing: is in today's money, it's a good sign of being in the Geritol for lunch bunch.
At the
right?
drag strip, if you
Yeah.
were going to have a
Right.
a pit bike, you'd probably want the dragster, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
but you know what? On the drag strip, I gotta say the Helix is gonna beat the dragster.
yeah, right.
Well, I sent the one that you always see at
Yeah.
the drag strip, which
Yeah.
is the Easy 90.
Easy 90. Yeah, that's the best. That is the permanent bike.
That's in the 80s, though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. That's a tough one to get. Okay, we're gonna blow through the rest of these real fast. Pete and Swiggy, they decided that the best ADV bike. Now, remember, in the '90s, ADV didn't exist.
Not really.
It was just called going places.
Well, it was just super underground. Like people traveling around the world,
Yeah.
they were doing it because they wanted to do it.
Exactly.
They weren't trying to get a TV show or
Or they weren't trying to
sponsorships.
see how many Starbucks gift cards they could fit in the
Right,
panniers,
right.
right?
There was a couple that did around the world on a CX 500.
Yeah.
A modified
Modified
500.
CX.
It was
Yep.
really cool.
There's a
And-
dude doing it on the C90. Still a postie bike.
Yeah, he's a British guy that
Yeah.
accidentally found himself in Australia and had to go home.
Yeah.
And that's great. It's his great YouTube channel. Great.
He's taking it apart.
He's loving
and
it.
Put it in bags.
Just love that
Because it
guy.
was free luggage,
That's
but
free
no
luggage.
motorcycles.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Great story. So they chose the R1150 GS, and here's my thing. First of all, it's just that the R1150 GS actually didn't come out until 99, so it falls under the R1 rule.
Yeah.
And they mentioned the long way around and everything else, long way down.
Which was only just proved the failure of that bike.
To
because
me too, yeah.
As soon as they got in the shit, they were fucked.
They were fucked.
Yep.
The bikes broke every way a motorcycle
And the best
could break.
part was Sergio, their camera guy, had that Russian piece of
He
shit.
got on a Kalashnikov.
Yeah, and it was fucking doing way better.
He had like an AK-350, and he was like, I'm carrying all the cameras.
Yeah.
I'm going ahead of you and shooting all the video,
and he
making you
wasn't
guys look
stuck
like
'cause
heroes.
the bike weighed 200 pounds.
Yeah. And he's having a coffee,
Yeah.
and they're like welding their frame together with truck batteries.
Killing the ABS.
Killing, like, right, exactly. Murdering the ABS systems.
Yeah.
And so to them, I would like to make two suggestions. The first suggestion I would make is that the bike you actually mean
PD.
is the R1100 GS. The bike you mean is the R1100 GS. That's the correct bikes for the year, for the 1995-ish, middle of the 90s kind of thing, because the 1150 didn't show up until the very, very end of the decade.
Now, I should know this.
Go ahead.
But did the 1000 have the square headlight? It was the
We're going to talk about
ugliest
this.
fucking pig ever.
We're
right?
going to talk about
Yeah.
this. So the R1100 GS, when that came out, that was the first of the Schnabel bikes. It was the first of the bikes that BMW said, oh, well, we're going to make an oil head bike that actually can do some off-road shit. Because I would argue technically that the holdover from the 80s, which would be what?
The PD.
The R100, Perry Dakar.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first original like adventure bike.
It has the words Perry Dakar on the side of it, for
Right.
fuck's sake. I mean, like, it's kind of built for that.
Right.
And I've got plenty of friends that have ridden those around the world, and they won't die, and they're air-cooled and airhead and simple,
I mean,
simple,
they made
simple.
business. They had fucking metal around the headlight.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was ready to go through brush and anything else you wanted to do.
But it's still wrong.
well, yeah.
It's still wrong.
Okay.
Because as a guy who, when I was in Alaska, after riding to Alaska on an Interceptor, don't ever do that. Back when the roads were gravel, back when it was before it was chip tar and everything else, there was a big section of the Alcan Highway that was still honest to God gravel. And I rode that on a 1987 Honda VFR, an Interceptor. Blue. Well, it used to be blue. The gravel and the rocks and the bugs changed its color the whole way up there. And I can
Raw
tell
plastic.
you that I hated every minute of that ride. But when I got to Alaska, I bought a bike.
Got rid of that one.
I bought a bike. And I can tell you from being in Alaska and seeing what all the other bikes were that were up there, I bought a KLR 650
As you do.
because the KLR 650 is straight up hand to God the best adventure bike there is. Now, DR 650 is somewhat interchangeable with the KLR 650, but when it comes to parts availability, there's a wonderful couple that rode a pair of KLR 650s around the planet a couple of times, and a husband and wife team, and they actually turned the KLRs into a paddle boat at one point. So every kind of failure they could have, they got through the night because it was a KLR 650. I myself bought a KLR 650. I was not a KLR 50 supporter until I got to Alaska. And then when I got to Alaska, I became a KLR 650. And you know, I've been a KLR 650 supporter ever since. And my DR 650 is parked right over there. Yeah.
Do bikes like the Transalp or the Africa Twin throw a wrench in any of this?
They do.
Because those are pretty fantastic.
And remember, there was a
bikes.
Super Tenere too.
Yeah.
So remember, the Super Tenere didn't exist in our market, but the Tenere existed in the European market. But I just was kind of saying that
Transalp was a pretty sweet bike.
it was a sweet bike, but
was.
it wasn't what I saw in Alaska.
Yeah.
I didn't see any Transalps in Alaska. I only
would you
saw,
rather have, would you rather have a Transalp or a BMW if you had to ride from here to Alaska?
honestly, the Transalp. The KLR 650 worked great. I'm just saying, like, I don't think a Transalp would have made my life any better than the KLR 650 was. I think they're the same thing. It's just the Transalp was kind of weird for parts even when they
If
were
you
new.
were going to ride through the Alps, what would you want?
Well, I'd have to have a Transalp. Duh. Come on, man. Its name's printed on the side.
I was giving you that one.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. But so anyway, I got to go with the KLR 650. Sorry, guys. Speed Wars, best top speed bike. They said you can't count the Hayabusa because the Hayabusa was too new. The Hayabusa launched out in 99. So the Hayabusa doesn't count.
What'd they choose? The Blackbird?
They chose the Blackbird.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Again, I'm not going to fucking argue with that. It's a great choice. It's a perfect 90s bike. It's got obscene power.
Great advertising campaign. Remember,
Yep.
it was just black on black with the
so
X's coming
fucking
off.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know what? Faster than shit. Good out. Damn. That's that Fatheads. That sounded good. That sounded good.
Oop, there it is.
So I would argue, only just for fun, I would mention the ZX 1100R.
Yeah.
Because it was just as fast as the Blackbird. It was just, there were more of them around. You could get one easier. Anyway, best dirt bike. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, this is
a hard one because they picked the XR400, which I love. I love
bike.
the XR400. I love that motor.
But as we discussed before,
I think that XR400 motor is one of the best motors ever built.
But when you say dirt bike, you have to know, are you talking track, woods, trail?
Yeah, they didn't make the thing tight enough.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't make it tight enough.
Because so many people argue, like the two-stroke 250s,
right?
You can't beat them.
Well, there was only one bike that ever beat the XR400.
Well, then, like things like the Yamaha WR450 came in at the end of the decade. So
I can't count that because it's a 99.
You might push it out.
Yeah, I've had to push it out. The Yamaha, the Suzuki RM250 is another one.
But
crazy
in
powerful.
my neck of the woods, my brother had the XL, but that's going to be 80s. I don't think that's.
It's too early. The XL. So
his XL 350R.
Crazy good.
Crazy good.
And that was an 80s bike. The KX250 Kawasaki two-stroke.
Yeah,
that was a bad boy. Water cooled, upside down suspension.
238 pounds or something.
Crazy lightweight.
Light, yeah.
Very,
what about
very
all
good
the
bike.
500cc two-strokes?
Well, the XC500. So think about
KX
that.
500, CR 500.
Oh my God, yeah. Ooh. They were so fierce.
Yeah. But you know what? Too fierce.
Too fierce.
They get pushed out.
That's one of the reasons
I would rather ride an XR400.
I was thinking about saying the KX500, but the KX500 was a rowdy bike. Like people didn't like riding it, so it was a rowdy machine. So I got to say XR400. You guys are on the money.
Yeah.
XL500s and XR500s are 80s.
They're 80s, and even if you did say an XR650, something like that, like an L. It's just not good.
Too big.
It's too big. It's not great for a dirt bike. It's
but
just
still,
too much.
like you still need to define because like the XR400 taking it to tight trails not fun.
No, it's the right
fun.
bike.
It's the right bike. Yeah,
not compared to like a 252 stroke where you just tractor away and you can rip through little things.
No, I would.
YZ250.
I would hand to God.
CR250.
Yeah, I would hand to God take the CR250 was like dynamite. Like it was way too volatile.
Nah, but you can tractor them, man.
Okay.
Second gear,
Right.
it'll tractor through. I mean, like, there's a reason that trail bikes are mostly two strokes
I get
and
it.
lightweight. And
No, you got some points.
No, you got some points.
Let's do this.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think the CRs are great.
Pete, you guys get an XR 400
an XR
or two?
400. Honestly, I'm not going to ride a CR 500. I value my fucking
Right,
life,
no
man.
way. I
I'll
can get
concede that was a good choice
Yeah,
if there's
it's a
really
great
no
choice.
if there's no defining of what if it's
Right.
just general dirt
Yeah.
bike.
The 500 two strokes are off the charts.
Oh,
and
God,
so
they're
they're
terrible.
off the list.
Yeah.
But the 250 two strokes,
Yeah.
and even the 125s, the YZ 125.
Yeah, because now you're talking 190 pounds or something. Like it's like a bicycle with a fucking motor.
Except for the fact that you've got to love rebuilding the top end.
Yeah.
Whereas the XR 400, you may never have to rebuild the top
Right.
end.
Well, they're not talking about mechanics.
I know. No, they're just. I mean, I get it. So
Well,
anyway.
we're talking about the best. So
Their
the
choice
best
is
something
their
that's
choice is
reliable.
fucking valid.
It is.
Their choice is
I'll
valid.
give you that. It's valid.
If I had to have my choice, if somebody said KX250, which is one of my favorites,
Yeah.
and I had to rode them, they're fucking so good. They will make you a jumper if you're not a jumper.
Right. And they're green.
And they're green, which doesn't hurt, but dirt bikes look good in green.
Right.
But the
I like
XR400,
green.
that was the fresh launch for Honda in the 90s, and it was so good compared to, like, quality-wise, it was rugged. It was
It's a
durable.
Honda, yeah. I mean,
You couldn't kill it.
No.
And that meant that you could enjoy it more
Yeah.
because it was reliable.
I mean, I'm never going to argue too much with a Honda. I
Yeah.
love Honda.
They're great bikes. Okay, Cruiser. They said they love movies. They made so many movie references. So they talked about Terminator, and so they said the Fat Boy. The Harley Davidson Fat Boy is a 90s icon, the best cruiser of the 90s. And again, okay.
I'll take any year
Yeah.
of. I don't know why I can't think of it now. Sorry.
Okay, I might help you.
Road King.
I might help you out with this.
Road
Yeah,
King.
because I would
I've
always
always
go
liked
for
Road
Road King too.
Road King.
It's a bigger bike. It feels better on the freeway.
Road King.
If you're going to go,
And I think that the Cruiser should be a Harley.
yep. And if you're going to throw,
Although there's
right.
lots of Japanese bikes that are fantastic.
Well, because what came out in the 90s?
They're all copies of the Harley. at
No,
that point.
no,
No, they're not the Harley.
What came out in the 90s that deserves honorable mention is the Valkyrie. And the Valkyrie
Okay, all
would
right.
knock any Harley's dick in the dirt
Yeah.
in any type of competition you wanted, whether it's power, speed, top end, touring, whatever you want to do. The Valkyrie was magic to ride, and they are magic to ride. They're amazing. They have the motor that comes out of a gold wing. It'll last for 200,000 miles. It'll hold 100 miles an hour across the goddamn country, and it looks like a cruiser. So it's a gold wing cruiser. And so I think that the Valkyrie is better. Now, that stupid Harley Softail, which that's what it is, it's a Softail, everything that Harley did in the mid 90s was some permutation of a Softail if it wasn't a big twin like a FLH.
Right.
So they were all Softails. If I had to pick a Softail, I wouldn't pick the Fat Boy because the Fat Boy, to me, if your definition of the 90s is Uncle Timmy got out of jail for the third time and he's still financing his new tattoo, then yeah, the Fat Boy's going to do it. But there was the Springer Softail, which had infinitely more fucking character. And they did make it they mentioned the Moo Glides. They were talking about the Moo Glide, which is the Heritage. So that's the Heritage Softail done with actual moo cow upholstery, like real cow fur on the seats, untanned, like just actual cow hair on the seats. And every seat and every saddlebag and every batch seat was different because they were all from different cows, right? So there were no two that were alike.
Road King's perfect. You got a
Road King is perfect. I agree.
Got some saddlebags.
I own a Road King.
It's enough for a nice little weekend away.
I own a 2014 Road King, and I wouldn't have a problem owning a 1998
Ultra,
Road
it's
King.
not like a land yacht. It's still not.
Road King's a great bike.
I love the look of a Road King.
Yep, me too.
Black Road King.
Yeah. Take it just the way I got it. So if you want to go Softail, I say go Springer Softail. You know, not Fat Boy. Then the last one, guys,
Road
is
King.
Road King. I get it. You're not wrong, right? If I had to say, if we had to pick one, I would either go with Road King or Valkyrie.
Say it again, Jeff.
Road King.
Road King. Yeah.
All right,
And then
last one,
just to kill this thing. I don't know what happened, but the NOCO boys have it completely. They watch too much GP racing. They are not aware that for a guys that ride scooters and watch GP racing, they are completely unaware of a whole segment of the motorcycle industry called standard.
Oh yeah. They got this wrong.
They
Sorry,
got this
guys.
wrong as ever been gotten.
It's like what's the best golfer and you pick LeBron James.
Exactly.
Like it just didn't work, man.
So their best standard, it irks me to say it because somebody's going to be able to soundbite me saying best standard Monster 900.
Yeah, no. It's not a standard.
It's not a standard.
It's a naked sport bike.
It's a naked.
Yeah.
It's a naked sport bike.
And it's what it is.
If you'd have said...
And this brings us around to something you mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
The Suzuki Bandit 1200.
Exactly. Because everything that the Monster did great. The Monster rescued the fucking company. Ducati was like, I'm going down, as Italian motorcycle companies should do.
The Bandit, to your thing, that's still a
sport
naked
bike.
sport bike.
It's still a naked sport
It's
bike.
not a standard bike.
Right.
A standard bike is a fucking Triumph.
Exactly.
A Bonneville,
Right.
a Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a great argument because
What do you call like a 919?
That's a naked sport bike. It's not a standard.
exactly. It's definitely not a standard, right? A 919 is definitely not a
saying. I
standard.
see
right?
what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a sport bike. But again, I would have to say instead of the Monster 900, just like I would not say that a Speed Triple
Right.
is a standard.
No.
We just wouldn't do it.
Nope.
Right? So a Speed Triple is a naked sport bike. You know, these are things that if you put, they all look
Well,
like,
not the Speed Triple, but what was the other one?
that's what we're going to get to.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm
So the
with you,
90s
John. John, I'm right there, baby.
The 90s were a really
We
hard
share a
time
brain.
for standards because you came out of the 80s where there were a lot of standards and people were sick of them.
Sick of them.
So all the motorcycle companies were like, fuck standards.
Can you remember all the Honda Nighthawk 650s? All the versions of a Honda 750 Nighthawk?
Yeah.
So many standards that were kind of like, oh, well, I'm kind of a sport bike because people were kind of tasting the water of sport bikes. Well, it just diluted all the standards. The only company that was doing a standard right in the 90s, and as much as I shit on them all the other times, was Triumph.
Yeah.
The Thunderbird 900 was a magnificent...
And that came out in 98.
No, it came out in 95.
95. You're right.
95.
Right. So that fits the bill.
So it's right in the
Slap
middle.
In the middle of the decade.
Right in the middle of the decade.
Yep.
And you know what a Triumph Thunderbird 900 did? Everything.
Yeah.
And you know what's wrong with a 900 triple? Nothing.
I have one. I love it.
It's a great motorcycle.
Yeah.
And if you caught it right at the end of the 90s, you got an extra sixth gear.
Yeah. Well,
Or
no,
like-
2001. I got
Right.
my 2001. It has
well,
6.
but I had a Thunderbird Sport,
Oh, that has 6.
and my Thunderbird Sport was a 98,
Yeah.
and that had 6 speeds, and I can tell you, hand to God, that's a standard motorcycle.
Yeah.
Whether you want to say because it had curvy handlebars, it was a standard motorcycle. It had a triple clamp on the top,
some
it was a standard
chrome.
motorcycle. It definitely had some chrome on it. Had 3 goddamn exhaust pipes. Like
It might
it's
have had a
standard.
seat cowl, but you could put the flat bar seat on it with the 2 bolts and you were done.
My seat cowl was just a piece of plastic you could break off, or I
Right.
mean, well, they all broke off anyway, but
Right.
you could break it off, take it off, and put a passenger on the back because it was padded.
Right.
Like There was nothing. The fact that you could put like a bikini fairing on it and a seat cover on the back made of plastic. Well, by that logic, then every Honda ever has been a sport bike, right?
Well, I mean, cafe races are just standards with bikini
exactly.
fairings. Right.
So
What
that's
do you call
the
the
idea.
big one?
What do you call the big one? Oh, that's a good example. That's a
a
great
standard bike.
1,000 cc standard.
1,000
cc standard. I agree.
95.
Nobody knows about it.
No.
It's like
They
we're
didn't
doing.
make them in numbers.
We're literally saying that right now, and one person in our entire 6,000 people that download our podcast, one person's going. You're right. John said the big one. He's right because the big one is 1,000 cc fierce. That's a fierce motorcycle. Can't buy tires for it. They decided that 17-inch wheels looked dumb on the big one because the big one was a regular motorcycle that they overinflated. So they put 18-inch wheels on it, and you can't buy tires for it. It's just a really hard bike to own. So that was it. You guys, that was our teardown of the top 10 bikes. Now, please, baby Jesus and Santa in heaven, please make sure that we never have to do another top 10 list ever again.
Well, if we do, though,
Fucking
it'll be
next week. I'll put up another one.
No. what we're going to do is the top 10 lists of the worst top 10 lists other motorcycle
Also true.
podcasts have
I'd like
done.
to say
And
we're
that's
going to
it.
have a new rule that says nothing higher than a top 3 list.
Yeah.
Right. Top 3 lists are good. So top 3 lists I'm good with.
But you
But
know
I
what?
like that they didn't do a top 10 list. They did the best of.
They did the best
Yeah,
of the
that's
90s.
fine.
Happened to be 10. Yep. Cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Chris, you're looking like you want to read something.
So on the first Christmas morning, 3 wise men walked into the manger. The first one stepped into donkey shit, looks at his shoe and exclaims, Jesus Christ. Mary looks at Joseph and says, that's a better name than Phil.
I'll take that. Okay, podcast listeners, reach behind you.
Listeners.
Listeners.
All right, I'm sorry, podcast attendees. Again, we've been drinking liquor, right? So reach behind you. You should have a bag behind you. Yep.
Oh, my God.
All right.
It's heavy.
It's heavier than fuck. All right, so go ahead, Dan, go ahead and rip through the bag and just call it out when you see it. It's not going to be formal. Okay.
Okay, Showa Atlas.
We have rubberized thermal gloves. Now, those are for working on your motorcycle in the cold or snow blow in the driveway or that
We
kind of
have to,
shit.
slowly suit up.
Yep.
This is like a thing.
Now
Here's
you're
the
gonna put it all
gloves,
on?
and
That's it.
here's some tools,
So if you
and then here's a bike you're gonna put together.
if you snow blower or you deal with greasy shit when it's cold outside, the Showa Atlas is the industry standard.
Yeah.
we have some of these at
Yeah.
work, and they are fantastic.
They are the industry standard for keeping your grip on ice cold shit.
So let me show you why these are so awesome.
Yeah.
You see that and that
Yeah.
and that and that?
Yeah.
That's because I have a wood burning stove and I go
Oh,
grab the
yeah,
wood and
yeah,
I
yeah.
keep fucking my hands
Yeah.
up. So now these are
Yeah.
my
The Showa Atlas, I buy them by the 24 pack. They are awesome, and that's what I swear by. So
When
there
I'm
you
out
go.
there in the morning,
Yeah.
hosing all the poop out of the finals. This is my glove of choice.
They're wonderful gloves, man. I love them. So go grab something else. Sleepy, what you got there?
a wife adjuster.
You got a wife adjuster. Everyone got a wife adjuster. Everyone got it. Yeah. So you got a white head and you got a black head for all your marring or non-marring. Oh, wait a second. Kromke's trying to make Thor. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, that's the sound of quality. Chris, we need more microphones. All right. And then so what else we got in there?
I got some sweet and spicy
Beef jerky. Everybody got beef jerky, right? Or some people got beef jerky. So you can go through
Whoa.
that. What else you get?
A woodpecker.
So you get a woodpecker, exactly.
That's
so
called a cat's paw.
That's called a cat's paw, exactly. A cat's
a nail
paw.
puller.
Why cat's paws are important, and you should have a cat's paw in your glove box or your toolbox.
Oh, window.
Is it's not just for pulling nails out. Nuh-uh. It's for prying shit. So don't use your good screwdriver to pry shit. Use the cat's paw. So if you got a cat's paw, that thing, and it develops tremendous torque. So if you do want to use the cat's paw part of it, it will pull out nails, bolts, and screws.
You can take
really
this
good.
and put it there and whack it with a hammer and
Exactly.
dig them out.
Dig them out. So cat's paw is real good.
You're
if you
doing
got
any
a
demo work, you want to set want a good cat's paw.
Okay, somebody grab something else out of their bag.
Oh, these are all great. You can never go wrong
So
with
we got a
these.
couple of magnetic trays. Very, very
sir.
good. Very good. All right.
In heavens to Betsy.
Okay,
is
so
this?
John now got into the specialized gifts part of it. So John got a specialized gift. He got what is called,
The Boozy Bears.
yeah, that's Boozy Bears.
So you take a little dropper.
Yep.
You take your favorite cherry martini mix.
Yep.
And you drop the droppers into the Bear ice cube tray, I'm
Yep.
assuming.
That's what they are.
You freeze it up, and then the next time you make a martini.
No, those are gummy bears, buddy.
Oh.
Those are all gummy bears. So what
Put
that
those in
is
your pocket for
is
later.
the various different powders in there are Jello mixes, and you put liquor in instead of water.
Oh, so
and you
like-
use the eyedropper, and you'll make actual, real drunk gummy bears. I thought you'd like that.
Edibles.
Edibles.
Guaranteed to break the ice at parties.
Edibles.
Santa's edible.
All right, who
kits.
got a flashlight?
It says for ages 4 and up.
So we got bright as fuck flashlights for everybody. So everybody's got bright as fuck. You got to pull the little thing off the back in case if it doesn't light up. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, they're brighter than frig, and they're magnetic and stuff. So anyway, but yeah, so those are. Oh yeah, Christmas wrappings, baby. Anyone else got anything else? Okay, so some people got short cables. The short cables are for holding your motorcycle helmet to your motorcycle.
I've always had a short cable.
So when you drive a motorcycle and the little helmet holder, helmet lock thing is too tiny, you just use one of those and you can put that through the sleeves of your jacket, and you can hold your jacket and your helmet on your motorcycle, and now you can walk away from your motorcycle and be cool. Yep.
This is
All right.
cool.
This looks like a
So
nice
you guys
little
get to the
kit.
white box yet?
Yeah.
All right, get
This
to the
is
white
cool.
box. So get to the white box. The
It's
white
a
box.
nail guy.
Family
You get a
essential
flashlight.
tool set.
It is literally an essential tool set. So the nail guide is a pair of pliers, what's made out of plastic. So when you're nailing something to the wall or screwing something to the wall, you don't fuck your fingers up.
You never need to dummy your thumb.
Exactly. Yep. And then there's some other fun stuff in there.
There's a flashlight.
There's an extending. So
Mag-
pull the head
magnetic
off the
pickup.
flashlight, and then you can twist the head to it. It does rotationals. And then there's a magnet built into it. No,
Okay,
just
Phil,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
Mrs. Smith is here. Don't.
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
twisting
Twist in the head. Just cup the balls and twist the shaft.
Okay.
Yep. So that's that. And then you got a retriever. One of the blue things is a parts retriever, and that also has an LED light built
A
into
nut
it.
retriever.
A nut retriever.
And that's also called the getting all the shit that your daughters and stuff drop down the drain retriever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you
That's magnetic.
if your wife has long hair and chokes up the plumbing, that'll work that too.
Yeah.
Those are all magnetic. Yeah. Those bad boys are all magnetic. And the last thing is a cervical inspection mirror. Yep. Sleepy didn't get beef jerky, but he got a Boba Fett instead.
I'll take the mug, man. I'm a coffee guy. That's better for me. Hell yeah. Thank you, sir.
You're so welcome. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And I think that might be it. I think you guys may have gotten to the bottom of the gift boxes.
Well, and I got you guys something. So you guys little boxes in front of you.
Yeah.
So kind of crack
Go
those
and crack
open
these
there.
bad boys open. Yep.
See what that is. I think some of you guys might appreciate this. I don't know.
And some of the guys got Cleveland Moto jackets. They're not wearing them right now, but we got some Cleveland Moto jackets. We're using our
Yes, sir.
Patreon money, man. If you guys want to be Patreons and you want to know where your money goes,
A small thanks to
Open
Phil,
it,
but a
open it.
big thanks to the
Gotta
Patreon listeners out there.
that's right.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a big thanks to Phil. Thank you.
All I did was go pick it up, man. All I did was go buy it.
Don't look at it. Just open it.
Are you sure Merritt didn't have anything to do with
No,
this?
Merritt had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not call her in for a job of this
So
importance.
Dan always has these high potent, awesome, like super tasting alcohols.
Yeah, right.
And you want to cool them down, right?
Yeah, and we were using the ice cubes out of the world's worst
Right.
fucking
So
refrigerator.
you don't want to water that shit down
Right,
unless you
right.
maybe you want to add the proper amount of water.
Okay,
but
I
you
got
want
it.
some cold, right?
Right, you got it.
So I thought these were kind of appropriate for this group.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
Whatever it is, it's fucking heavy.
Are these Benoit balls?
Oh no, mine
Speed
feels
loader.
like a speed loader. It's a speed loader.
Those are you put those in the freezer.
Oh,
And you get them
man.
all cold, and then you can put some bullets in your whiskey, and it
Oh,
cools it
man,
down
yeah.
without.
These are like Tokharovs. These are like big Tokarov bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's badass.
So that way your booze is cold and it doesn't water down.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's badass. Those literally look just like, neck down center fire cartridges.
Yeah.
Badass.
Don't get pulled over with them.
Sleepy. Yeah. Put those in your luggage. Yeah.
Set the whole thing in the freezer, huh?
Yeah, you
you-
set the whole thing in the freezer.
Wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
but I think they just passed the no concealed carry in Ohio.
I have no idea what that means.
That means you don't need to have a license.
Oh,
anymore.
it's Second Amendment. Yeah. Yeah. It means you don't need to have a concealed carry card. Really? Wow. Well, okay. Well, there we go.
Well, what if you have
the
one though?
governor
Do you
hasn't
get some
signed it
bonus
yet.
points
You
or
get bonus
something?
points if you get a CCW license. If you can hold up your CCW card,
Yeah.
they're like, you get a free pass.
Yeah,
You're
right.
good.
All these guys are like, but that's how I was making all my money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to take the wind right out of that shit. And then let me see. I think that's it. Anybody got anything else in their bags? I think we're pretty good. So Denise didn't get a bag now, but she does. You've got a.
I'll share.
Okay, you'll share. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Denise, did you bring anything?
As a matter of fact, I did.
You did.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Ooh. What'd you?
I only brought one.
Oh, that's okay. Honestly, we're not jealous types around here. We're cool. We like.
It's for Chris Smith, if you were looking at Facebook, several people were saying it was the Chris Smith.
It's the Chris Smith podcast. It is the Chris Smith episode.
So I got you that bike.
What?
Welcome to a Benelli.
Yeah.
So the Benelli right in front of our podcast table is Chris Smith's Benelli.
Yeah.
That's your bike, dude.
Oh, we're riding, buddy.
It's
We
prepped.
wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
Now
and a
go
happy
ride your bike. That's your bike, dude.
We're drinking with cheer as you sit with us here.
Yeah, dude.
Crack open another beer. And let's do burn out.
That's
Somebody loves
Somebody
Mr.
loves Mr.
Smith.
Smith.
Wow. Jeez, oh, Pete.
He got a Benelli, baby.
Dude, we're Benelli buddies.
She's a keeper.
Your Benelli brothers.
It's like Eskimo brothers, but
It
not
is like
really.
Eskimo brothers.
Is it prepped yet?
Oh, she measured it and everything. It's all prepped.
Can we do burnouts?
Right now. Let's go.
So that is,
You got to ride it home tonight, though.
yeah, she didn't pay for winter storage.
Yeah,
so,
Oh, my gosh.
Congratulations,
Congratulations,
Mr. Smith.
dude.
Cheers.
I'm shocked.
You got a Benelli,
Yeah.
baby. Here's to
Here's to
you.
Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, Mrs. Smith.
Absolutely nailing
thank
it.
you.
So wait, hold on. We got to hear from Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith, what did this man do to deserve such a wonderful present?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
I don't think we have enough bikes in that garage.
Phil needs a bigger warehouse.
Yeah.
Say hello to Ty and Tristan, who are watching.
Hi, Ty. Hi, Tristan. And hi, Dave Wood from New York City.
Yeah, that was so cool. Yeah, we were very excited when Denise came in and hatched this idea. So that's why we did all this
Why don't you
tonight.
jump on it? Take it for a
Yeah.
spin. I'll push you around the shop.
Well, we got to unwire all the Christmas lights first,
Yeah, especially the
Make the
live
noise.
wires.
especially the live wires that are literally hooking it up.
Thank you, Phil.
Oh, it was my
All
pleasure.
the setup.
Absolutely, love to do it. Right?
Love it.
We
So
wanted
much.
to make it as fun as possible.
And Chris, don't worry. The 30% premium for the quick turnaround.
yeah,
Just don't
you're
worry
fine.
about that.
We'll hide that in the financing. I'm
Can't
sure.
wait to
Yeah.
tell Diane.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you bring the payment book for him?
No, the funny thing was watching Diane sneak in here several times without you. So Denise, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith, right? Watching her sneak in several times without you was hilarious. Like the whole idea was like it had to be
hell was that?
orchestrated. I know, dude. Believe me, when this all started, you were here.
When you
You
said
just didn't know what was happening.
Phil, when you said Diane, he got mad.
I
He was
got
like, "Wait,
upset.
my wife came
I
in
got
and
a
bought
bike coming
Smith a
too.
motorcycle."
Again, I've been drinking all night. Sorry, folks. But yeah, like the fact that this all started when you were standing 6 feet away.
How dumb am I?
Apparently, not too dumb. You got a free motorcycle from your wife.
There were today we had done some planning about
Fantastic
like,
taste in women.
oh yeah, absolutely. We were doing planning today. Like James and Renee had worked on these elaborate schemes to like hide it and put it in a box and all these other things and roll it in and all this other crap. And Denise was like, "We don't need any of that. He does not see this coming. He does not see this
Well,
coming."
and
at
it
all."
doesn't hurt that we always have bikes in front
That's,
of
what
the
I,
table.
told, that's what I
Yeah.
told Renee and James. I was like, "We always have bikes in front of the table."
yeah.
Yeah, that was Phil's genius.
Yeah.
Have it right in front there.
Yeah. And then I made Renee and James find lights, and then we had to make the lights work. So we had to cut all the ends off and just like literally
Yeah.
jimmy rig them. It was so terrible.
So, of course, after I was done with the Moto stories,
Yeah.
I got up and I started walking around. I thought, oh, fuck, Phil sold that white one. And I'm kind of walking around. It wasn't until he walked back over here, I said, oh, all right, he still got it.
Still got it.
That's
Good enough.
That's good to know.
But I like
Good to know.
I like how you knew that he was thinking about it because you had called me a couple weeks ago and asked me what I thought of mine, and I said I love the fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, I told you have to modify the seat a little bit. Besides that, it's a great bike.
It's so funny.
And then he was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about one. I kind of like them, man."
Yeah, and you would have thought about it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
2 years,
Paralysis by
having
analysis.
fun and
Yeah.
just-
Well, you know, it's always
You
better.
know me too well.
It's always better when somebody kicks you off the ledge.
Plus,
Yeah.
you know what? Now, like you have a bike that we can't make fun of you with the name. It's
Right.
just a
Yeah.
TNT
It's just a
135. There's no body part that goes with it. So
You'll figure something out.
yeah, I'm sure.
Isn't that the Ballast 135?
Yeah.
You mean the phallus? No, the ballast.
He's riding the white pony.
It is. If you're gonna
The cotton canoe.
ride a white horse, man. Ride a white horse. Oh man.
If you want to ride
Ride a white horse.
Ride a white horse.
Dude, that was fucking fun. Yeah.
Right.
So thank your wife. Your wife is fantastic.
Yeah.
She does great.
And of course, I'm wondering, she's texting me, she's going to come up to the podcast. I'm like, well, all right, what the fuck's this all about?
Well, we were scared you were going to go to another Christmas party, so I had to ask you to bring charcuterie.
Yeah.
That was all a trap too.
Look at his face.
That was all a trap.
Here I am getting into it.
Oh no, that was all a trap. Like,
Hook, line, and sinker.
every
Going to that party.
Yeah.
yeah.
When we heard it was Wednesday.
Right, so we were going to do the podcast originally on Wednesday because I got to go out of town, but we moved it to Thursday because you got another party. So we moved it over to Thursday. We wanted to make sure you were here for this. And then we were like, okay, well, we can't have him decide to bow out of the podcast, so we got to ask him to bring charcuterie.
And of course, I'm sitting at home, planning out all the charcuterie, think it's going to be great.
Oh, we love that too. Yeah. Oh, look, we're not completely altruistic. It's just a Christmas miracle. We do it all the time.
So a 17-year-old male walks into a drugstore. He says, I've been invited to a Christmas dinner at my new girlfriend's house.
Oh,
Afterwards,
pressure.
I hope there's a chance that I get lucky, if you know what I mean. The clerk says, how about condoms then? They come in handy. Here's a pack. The young man pays and walks out the door, stops and smiles and comes back and says, the mama's also smoking hot. I think I'll take another pack just in case I get extra lucky. Christmas Eve comes around. The boy sits at dinner table and doesn't say a word. After a while, the girlfriend says, had I known you were going to be so quiet, I wouldn't have invited you. The young man replies, if you had told me your dad works in the drugstore, I wouldn't have come.
Oh, man. Man, that's terrible. That's awful. So, you guys, if you are Patreon members, I just want to remind everybody, Renee will be sending you or has sent you an email asking you about your shirt size and whether you want a coffee mug or a pint mug or a pint glass, because we do a box for you guys. So you guys are Patreon members. You come into the $10 or $20 level. We want to make sure you get your gifts. And so keep your eyes on your email if you are a Patreon subscriber, because there'll be an email from Renee asking you, you guys got here today. Renee was packing Patreon gifts, right? And it's going to be, once you're a Patreon, I think we wait. I think it's like maybe 4 months or 6 months into Patreon that you get your party box. So that's when it does. It's not like you get the next day. I think it's like 4 or 6 months later that you get
Also,
it.
shout out to Renee. She made us chocolate chip cookies today.
She did. Renee made us chocolate chip. And Renee was also a part of this whole thing about this setup. Renee did all that. She kept everything super quiet and got the paperwork done and did all that stuff. So
She's the best.
She is the best. And anybody's ever been to my shop will know that James and Renee run the shop.
Yep.
I am here to be comic entertainment.
We still got to get her on Moto Stories to hear the
She's
truth.
very difficult to get on Moto Stories.
I'm going to work on her.
Or so she's been told by her boss.
gonna work
who pays
on
She
her.
passed on a Discovery Channel.
She did.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they didn't bring her a chocolate eclair. I know her. I know her the way
that's
it works.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Send that over. Pass that way, please.
I don't know what it would take for Renee.
For Renee to go on camera.
I don't even want to hypothesize.
Do you know what's
She's
funny?
my buddy. I'm going to get her on.
She's the only one that I'm actually scared of going on camera with, because Renee she knows where the bodies are buried.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get her on camera. That's the whole point.
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is, though, I think there's a lot of stuff that she won't cop to.
No, of course.
Because she knows, she's like, yeah, okay, that's kind of self-incrimination too, so I'm not going to let go on that. But
Right.
yeah, Renee's always been a good wingman for a lot of good shit.
Oh, yeah.
But
You can't really get her drunk enough to make her.
not anymore. She's
not gonna
chilled
get
her
her to
jets.
drink, so
yeah, she's chilled her jets. But and definitely in the before times, right? In the before times, in the before times, that was she was a very dangerous one to have on Moto Stories.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Hey, let me also say hi to my youngest, Tegan, a.k.a. Muggs.
Tegan, man.
Hey, Muggs.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Again, we talked about the boys, so right on. Yeah.
I left them out. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, and this was so much fun. Like the whole idea, we were joking earlier about getting kids like a mini bike or a dirt bike for their Christmas, and that kind of thing. And it still happens.
And I'm a kid.
Yeah, you're a kid. You're totally a kid.
But at least you didn't have to deliver it or take it upstairs.
No, that's true. We
Yeah,
didn't.
so
Right, it
that-
didn't have to go upstairs. It's not going to have to get put under a tree.
I'm still
We needed another bike.
One more bike.
waiting for Mrs. McElfresh to show up.
Ooh, yeah. And Peggy's here, and she brought beer. And Diane's here, and she brought beer. And Merritt's here, and she brought. No, Merritt
Mrs.
knows
Smith,
better.
Mrs. Smith, now when you need, like when you realize that you're out of salt,
Yeah.
you just say, hey, jump on your little bike
Yeah.
and go get me a little
Yeah,
salt.
that's
See,
it.
It's going
That's
to benefit
right.
you in many ways, I'm telling you.
I completely agree.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
It's been 6 hours. Where's that fucking salt?
all she hears is.
I only like Michigan salt.
Trick's on you. She's just looking for ways to get rid of you.
Yeah.
That's true too. Yeah, that's also true.
Little peace and quiet around the house.
She's like, that bike's small enough. I don't think cars will see him on that one.
Watch anything she wants on the TV.
Is your husband at home? She says, no. She says, I'll be right over.
I'll be right over. It's okay. He's out on a little bike. He'll be gone for hours. So that's great. So yeah, we're so happy that worked out. That's so much fun. It's so cool. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. Cheers to you, Denise.
Merry
Good job to everybody.
Christmas.
Here's everybody that pulled that
It was a
off.
Christmas miracle. Yeah. Or it was a Chris Smith miracle. Yep.
It's a Smithness.
It is the Smithness. I'm down with the Smithness. So that's cool. So anybody got anything else?
No,
The happy
just,
holidays?
Yeah, a little happy holidays thing. Well, Phil, you're going to Mexico or something? Where are you
I'm going to the U.S. Virgin Islands.
That's where you're going.
With a possible side trip to the British Virgin Islands.
The Virgin
The burgeoning islands.
Burgeoning Islands. Yeah.
Thank you, Christmas ale.
Isn't it more like an incursion?
It's more of an incursion. So the plan is I got a bike set up for the first few days in St. Thomas. I got a car rented that's probably not going to happen because things don't move at the same pace on the islands that they do in the rest of the world. And so we're probably going to do some different stuff, but there will be a...
Rum Runner's going to drop you in the LZ.
We're definitely... The
You're
COVID
gonna-
thing's making things really sticky right now between the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, and it's not exactly easy to get into the USVI.
You're telling me about this outside. I'm
But-
thinking like you're going to show up on the shore, you and Merritt, with like a
Shit, dude.
spear gun
Yeah.
and a thing strapped to your hip.
I'm gonna rent a
sneak up,
speedboat.
drink like 6 drinks, and then swim back out to the boat and run back.
Yeah, I'm going to do a James Bond style hostile invasion of the British Virgin Islands. Going to slide up on Virgin Atlantic's beach, and I'm never going to cut the motor on the boat. We're just going to coast right onto the beach and just hop off, have
You
a
go
few
backwards over the back.
backwards
of the boat.
off, and we're just going to have a few painkillers, and off we fuck into the sunset. It's like we were never there.
Never there.
Yep.
Frog people.
No record of it.
While you're on St. Thomas,
Yeah.
you got to go to Aqua Action Divers.
Aqua Action.
Lakewood, Ohio.
Nice. Yeah. Well, yes, we're definitely going to check them off.
They'll take
That's Aqua Action Divers from Lakewood, Ohio.
Podcast sponsor that doesn't know they're a podcast sponsor.
Yes, please get in contact for your bill.
If you want to go deep sea fishing, go to Double Header Fishing.
Oh, really?
Double header fishing.
I've never done deep sea fishing at all ever, but I do understand the basic elements of it, and I do enjoy fish.
Wow,
So
we had a magnificent
yeah,
excursion.
and you get to eat whatever you catch.
You get, yeah. quite a bit of it, yeah.
That's a good
That's the
thing.
whole story, but-
Yeah, I like all the sounds of that.
So that's
Yeah.
check out.
I'm so excited about doing the underwater national park.
Yep.
So like that whole idea of like having the snorkel on and just kind of cruising around and being in a national park that's actually underwater.
Right,
That
St.
is
John's,
So
yeah.
cool.
Crazy.
That's so cool. That is the best idea ever. So I'm pretty fired up about it. And yeah, there will be adventures and there will be stuff.
All the listeners, when you're jonesing for the next podcast,
Right.
just know that Phil's underwater floating in water. And then we'll be back in New Year.
Well, again, I just
Well,
hope
we're
that
all freezing our asses off. You'll be in fucking paradise.
I was good. I've never done paradise like until a couple
you've
of
never
years
done
ago.
Hawaii. You've
I've
never done
well, that was
Costa
the thing,
Rica.
is
You've
I-
never done. Yeah.
When I was in Hawaii, I had a close encounter with a sea urchin, and I didn't know, like, because I'm not a water.
Was his
sports
name
guy.
Smitty?
No, but his name was spiky as fuck, and my whole hand looked like. It looked like I inflated my hand with a bunch of black spots on it because
Like
I
you
made the
dipped it in
mistake.
corn syrup.
Oh my God. I made the mistake of like, I got in water I shouldn't have been in with my snorkel thing on.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of paddling around, but the water was too rough. And by that point, like we were on the Big Island and shit. And I got beat up into the rocks. And I was like scampering up onto a rock, but I didn't realize the rock was all sea urchins.
Oh,
Urchin encrusted.
Oh, so
Take
terrible.
these with you.
Right, yes, that would have saved me.
Yeah.
That would have saved my ass.
Serious.
No shit. Those right there would have saved my ass. Instead, I literally had the sword dick deal. Like, there was no way in the world. These things were useless for 2-3 days. I was miserable. And it's like glass. You can't get it out.
Your Peter beaters were out of commission.
It was crazy. No, it sucks so bad. So
can you imagine stepping on one of those fuckers? Oh, dude.
No. The stepping on part, I crawled up a rock that was covered in them.
Yeah.
Like a volcanic rock that was covered in them. The feet were out of the question. Feet, knees, but the hands were what got me, because it makes your hands unusable. Because your hands just go inflated and then they don't curve anymore. You can't grab things. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's like wearing mittens everywhere and you're in goddamn Hawaii.
I'm picturing
That's bullshit.
Phil like this.
I'm making pasta over here, right? That's it. That's what I got. But they were so inflated and so swollen, I couldn't bend them.
Yeah.
Like, that's how bad they were. And I get up on the beach and I go to the bar and I'm so miserable. And I'm like, fucking hell. And I pull up to the bar and I got these hands that look like inflated. They look like Mickey.
Take 10.
Yeah, they look like Mickey Mouse gloves. And I'm like, you got anything for this? And he's like, rum. And I'm like, if I pour rum on here, it's going to work? And he goes, no, if you drink enough of it, it'll stop hurting. And I was like, but there's got to be something we can put on this to make it better. And he's like, no.
Pee on it. Here, hold your hands out.
I did.
I'll pee on it.
John, if you don't
I'll pee on your hands right now. I want to pee on your hands.
John, I didn't get out of the water. I was peeing on him. I was on the rock. I was on the rock that I scampered up onto. And I'm on this fucking rock. And I realized what a mistake I'd made.
Everybody pee on Phil.
No, I peed on my hands before I got off the rock.
Okay.
You walk out, you're like this, everybody's giving you high fives. You're like, stop.
No, stop. I peed on my hands on the rock. And then I peed on my knees and my feet when I got back to shore.
Then you had everybody else pee on
And
you.
I ran out of pee, and the guy's like, doesn't matter, doesn't work anyway. Like all the divers and
You smell like piss.
like all the fucking guys. I went back in the water, but the
You're piss drunk.
No, before
my
he told
God.
them, though, they got everybody together. He's like, hey, man, we got another guy. And they're all like, hey, we'll help you out.
I had look these guys
He's
in
not
the
only
bar.
pissed off, he's pissed on.
The bar that was within eye shot of where we were had to love it because that beach is so attractive, and like you're sitting at this beautiful bar drinking a beautiful drink, and there's this beautiful beach. And my dumb ass is like, I've had 4 drinks. I'm going to go in the beautiful water.
It's called Urchin Beach.
It's called Urchin Beach. It's called Stabby. It's literally Stabby Harbor. Whatever. It was the dumbest thing. It might as well have been called Swollen Key. It was fucked
Guys
up.
are sitting at the bar like, oh, look
Yes.
at this. Here goes another one.
Yeah.
Here goes another one.
We're sitting there, and I'm like, I put a drink away, and I'm like,
Well, this is going to be good.
And I was like, look, I'm wearing all my swimming shit. I'm good to go.
Phil comes out of the water looking like he walked through a field in Ohio
Yes.
with the birds just stuck all over him, but it's all urchins.
Oh, I left the table. We just had a 4-star meal and everything else, and had many drinks. And I went into the goddamn water, and I came out of there looking like a fucking pincushion.
No,
they laughed at
now
me.
let me ask you something.
No, don't
So
get up.
It swells everything up and makes it 3 times the size. Did you think for a minute maybe
I went
just
back
to
and beat my
slap it?
dick on the rock. Yeah. What do you got there in
Because
your
I'm
pocket?
going to
Sea
pass
urchins.
my cup down to Dan.
Gonna get some Johnny Drum.
I might as well trick.
Get a little brown liquor.
I'll take a sip of brown liquor.
Chris, bring ice.
I'm feeling it.
Bring ice, Chris. Bring ice.
After a couple Christmas ales, I feel like some brown liquor.
Those Christmas ales go down easy. Oh God, they go
More
down
than enough
easy.
for me right there.
The Christmas ale is a very dangerous thing in Cleveland. Yeah, somebody
see
will
if-
hand you 1 or 2. The
Let's
trick
see if
with a
we can
Christmas
drum up
ale.
some business here.
Yep.
It'll snuck up on you.
Little drummer. Yes, it'll snuck up on you. Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. How do you catch a unique rabbit?
I don't know.
Unique up on it. How do you catch a tame rabbit? Tame way. I thought you'd like that one.
So while
How do
you're
you stop a rhino from charging?
Take away his credit card.
oh jeez, that's terrible.
Why don't you pick apples in Africa?
I don't know.
Because the elephants paint their toenails red, and they hide in trees.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I fucked that joke up, but anyway, yeah,
This is
yeah. There's a joke in there somewhere, but I've had a few. Yeah. Oh, how did the guy die picking apples?
I have a glass of ice now.
Africa. Previous story.
Yeah, I got it. So,
All right. I can see the amateur hour.
He's going to fix it. All right, he's going to fix it.
3 men died on Christmas Eve and were met by St. Peter at the pearly gates.
The pearly greats. It's easy for you to say.
In honor of this holy season, St. Peter said, you must each possess something that symbolizes Christmas to get into heaven. The first man fumbles through his pockets and pulls out a lighter. He flicked it on. It represents a candle, he says. You may pass through the pearly gates, said St. Peter. The second man reached into his pocket and pulled out a set of keys. He shook them and said, they're bells. St. Peter said, you may pass through the pearly gates. The third man started searching desperately through his pockets. Finally pulled out a pair of women's panties. St. Peter looked at the man with a raised eyebrow and asked, and what does that symbolize? The man says, they're carols. Not bad. You guys got to think about that for a minute.
That's great.
Oh my God.
oh my goodness.
Oh, this is like that black swamp Gouda or what? Oh my God.
Are you soaking meat in whiskey?
No,
Oh.
it's the Christmas. The stuff from Austria you brought in.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
I was
really
like,
good.
Now you're getting into Frank Reynolds' rum ham.
By the end of the night, this whole podcast is going to be fully croissant.
Yeah, complete rum ham.
My Chicago people will know what croissant is. Yeah, old style beer. It's so good. Thank you.
So
That's
let's
good.
talk about the bad idea of getting a $300 snowmobile. I figured that's the right price point to cure me of ever wanting a snowmobile again.
No, the $400 one you sent that got sold was fucking mint, though. That thing was good, man.
I think, you see these snowmobiles, and I'm actually asking for some input from podcast listeners because snowmobiling in our areas, it's there. I mean, a lot of people at some point bought them and everything. Mm-hmm. So, especially out in like Oberlin area, there's snowmobiles because at one point there must have been snow, but we don't seem to get as much.
Yeah, that's climate change.
And of course, the one guy I work with says, I hope to God you buy a snowmobile. And I'm like, why do you care? You want to ride it? He's like, no, because we won't get any snow this year.
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, we're already not getting it because he bought a plow.
I put a plow on my micro truck.
Yeah. So
No
there's
snow.
no snow.
There's no snow.
Well, it is 70 today, and it's December 14th, so I don't know.
So I'm looking for input.
I'm going to put on my Christmas bathing suit.
So when they say you always got to worry about the tracks. They say it needs a new track. It needs a new track.
Yeah.
But when they say it needs a new track, is that because the track just doesn't have any more teeth left on it and it's bald?
So it works the
or
other
is it
way.
literally rotting off?
Yeah,
and it's
so
gonna
how they
fall off?
work is I'm not a stranger. My parents used to dump me off in, Wyoming. And I don't know if you've ever been in Jackson Hole. Wyoming. I don't know if you've ever been in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Or if you guys are podcast listeners want to look it up, it's called Pinedale, Wyoming. It is 90 miles the wrong side of Jackson Hole. But the point is, in the winter back then, you didn't go anywhere without a snow machine. They don't say snowmobile, they say snow machine.
Right.
And you don't go anywhere without a snow machine or a sled.
They're on the roads.
Exactly.
Riding, yeah.
Because that's the only thing that goes anywhere. But here's the trick, and this is what kills every fucking snow machine. It's the track. The motor's two-stroke motor. They're pretty fucking, liquid-cooled, most of them. They hang in there.
Air-cooled even better.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. They hang in there, right? Either 440 exciters and shit. But the track is basically metal encapsulated in rubber. Okay? Even when the military tanks and stuff that had rubber tracks, that, M114s and all the different shit that, we had in Vietnam era.
So it's a steel-belted
So
track.
it's a steel-belted track. Okay? So what happens is the track, anytime you're not running the snowmobile, the track is in the same oval position, and it gets a memory. So if you think that your motorcycle tires get flat spots on them when they're sitting in the garage for 6 months, you should try a snowmobile track that is sitting in one place and hasn't moved for a year or two, right?
30 years.
Exactly. And then what happens is the first time you put any stress on this thing, you got to knock the corners off of it, right? You got to knock the edges off of it, and it's been sitting for a long time. And you're going to knock the edges off of it using a 40 or 50 or 60 horsepower motor. And what happens is it's going to break. So all these rubber chunks of it are going to crack off of it. And initially you're going to be like, oh, it's kind of going now. And there's adjusters in there that you can adjust the wheels inside. Tensioners on the belt. And so you're going to be like, okay, well, I'll just adjust the tensioners and it'll take that up. No, all it's going to happen is that old ass rubber is going to chunk out. And it's going to chunk out. And you're going to be like riding it around for like an hour and be like, this is great.
So you're saying I can get a good hour.
That's what I'm saying.
Out of a $250.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
Because 14-year-old me killed 3 snow machines in 3 hours.
Perfect.
So when I showed
There's
up,
a guy who'll sell me 3 of them on a trailer for $800.
Yeah.
and that's
3
We got
hours
3 hours of ride time, boys.
And I'm going to tell you something. That for $800, you're going to see that guy's got $1 million smile. Because he's going to be the happiest guy in hill country. Like that is going to be the happiest dude you've ever met.
And as tracks go chunked, I'm going to put them up for free and just get rid of them.
Well, if you watched YouTube at all, there's that Derek guy, the Vice Grip Garage.
Yeah.
He tried to resurrect this dude's
racing snowmobile.
Yeah, the speed run thing. And
It has twin tracks.
Yep. And the reason he couldn't do it is because the tracks were disintegrating.
Yep.
He got the motors running, he got all that other shit going, and the tracks blew up.
And as a little motorhead myself, as a little weird fucking kid with a 10mm wrench for a left finger, like I went out there and I got these 3 snow machines running that hadn't been running for a long time. And I was like, this is going to be great. This is my secret to freedom in a snowbound wasteland of Hoth, a.k.a. Pinedale, Wyoming, where if you don't have a snow machine, you can't get to town, right? And I was like, I'm going to get to town.
You were going to save the whole town by being the only snowmobile that could get through the blizzard.
Everybody said, Philip, if you can fix those, you can ride them. You can have them if you can fix them. So it took me the better part of three days to get those 2-stroke 440 motors going. And 2 of them were the same, so I could do, parts off of each one of them. I got all 3 of them running. And then I managed to get them out of the barn and kind of like running around in a circle a little bit. And within an hour, they were all dead.
But we are forgetting that this is Johnny Mac.
Oh, no, I feel it.
No. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that if they're running,
right,
it'll probably have an ATV tire on the back instead of a tread.
Can't do it. I believe me, I was way ahead of that. The first thing you do before you buy a snow machine is you look up the price for the track, the replacement track for that snow machine.
That's about $1,200.
Before you buy the snow machine. Exactly. So you can buy a used snow machine completely based on the price of a new track for it.
I'm thinking I'm going to shoot for something in the 90s.
Yeah. You're going to have a way better chance.
I've got one that's like a 1990. It's $500.
You get a Yamaha 700 VMAX snow machine?
Yeah,
like
600 VMAX.
Yeah, they're plentiful and they're cheap.
I got a question. Has anybody tried a timber sled yet? The dirt bike?
The dirt bike with the thing in the back.
And the thing and the ski? That seems very appeling to me.
Well, you saw the video that I sent about the EZ90.
Yep,
with
EZ90.
factory
Yeah.
snow.
That looked good.
Any one of our SSR 125s with an old snowboard or an old ski on the front of it is completely cromulent. Oh. Yeah.
I would argue don't even need that. Just ride the fucking
Just
thing in
ride
the
it.
snow.
Just ride it.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm ready anytime.
Do you know what we'll do though?
Go.
Just for fun though, I've got 5 or 6 sets of skis in the garage that aren't being used. Oh. So we'll just grab a couple of skis here and there. We'll just safety strap them on.
Well, that's going to be the tow barge. So we're going to get like I have the back seat out of the Scout.
Yeah.
Put a couple sets of skis.
Oh, yeah, I
I
have way too many skis. Like
we'll
it's
tow that around.
Yeah.
Cheers. That'll be fun.
And I got a back seat on my van too.
Yeah.
I got a back seat out of the van.
So tow
We
those
can put 4
around.
people on those and put like 4 SSRs in the front like a chariot.
And I want to buy some tubes
Ben Hur, motherfucker. Ben Hur.
from boating tubes. But
I am
it's already got the
Spartacus.
straps.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what you're saying is I definitely need to check my health insurance and make
Yeah,
sure we're
good idea.
solid for
Yeah, good idea.
It's not going to cover
long-term
this shit.
care.
No, it's not going to cover this shit. No, I went to the hospital the third time I went to the hospital, it was like the doctor was asking me how I got hurt.
None of your fucking business.
Yeah, but the problem was I was like, I didn't want to admit that it was a motorcycle-related injury.
Fell out of a barn.
Because I didn't want the stats to be like another person hurt by a motorcycle.
right.
I was a little
I was
pissed
just
off about
shoveling
it.
snow.
Well, yeah, and I was like, I'm not going to tell him I broke my arm in a motorcycle crash,
Right.
Because technically, I wasn't riding a motorcycle. It was a dirt bike moped thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't on the road. It was just drunken shenanigans.
Right.
So I wasn't like, I'm not going to chalk one up to motorcycles being dangerous for the shit I was doing.
Well,
so I told him I fell off a horse.
I can imagine though, like if you did
Just fuck horse people.
Well,
People get hurt falling off of horses.
Fucking lots of respectable people died getting hit by horses.
Think about this.
By
For
train.
all the different scooter rallies and bullshit you've been to, right? Can you imagine telling the truth? All right, so here's what happened, Doc.
I was naked.
There was a flaming, I was naked. There was a flaming couch on skis being dragged by 3 Vespas. We hit a 15-foot jump. We were going to clear the bus, but the bus moved 2 inches and I fucking hit it.
No,
you just don't go there.
Say that. You know how James broke his ankle?
No.
He made 250 laps, naked and drunk. James, you're not here, but god damn it.
And he's sober now.
On a borrowed hot shit tuned scooter, right?
Yeah.
From one of our buddies up in Canada. And he made ridiculous number of laps. Like, we were all kind of like, damn, man. Like, he's good. Because he's drunk. Mm-hmm. He couldn't walk, but he could corner, leg out, hang the back end out, drifted all the way through 4 corners in the mud.
Right.
Like, legit, straight up. And I don't know what happened, but, like, he borrowed a friend of ours bike after he'd done this all day long, and he jumped on a different kind of a bike.
Why is it I never get that James? The James that wants to go ape shit.
Okay, so he gets all done.
He changed.
He gets off the bike. He's walking down the stairs from the cabin and breaks his ankle. He did 100 laps naked, sideways, drunk. No problems.
Well, that's like when we went to Hoff's place.
Yeah.
I almost killed myself just entering the house. We hadn't even started the shenanigans yet, and I tripped and fell down the steps all the way down into the backyard.
Do you know what scares me about being at Oberlin, about the property, the compound?
Yeah.
Is accidentally ending up in the basement of the fucked up house.
Right.
Because every time I walk near that place, I'm always terrified that I'm going to stumble.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a dead drop down into the basement of that fucked up.
Where the white albino spiders live.
Well, you'll be the 8th body down there.
Exactly.
We're just gonna backfill the foundation with you in there.
I know there's other bodies down there. I've looked down there and saw nothing but white spiders.
Yeah,
right?
albino
There's
spiders.
nothing but albino spiders down there. And every time I get too close, you'll notice I never go close to that foundation of that building. Because at any moment, I'm like, fuck it, I could lose it down there.
in.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I'll go around the property at 55 miles an hour sideways.
Yep.
But I won't walk near that house.
No, better than that. We'll go 55 miles an hour through a thing of trees with 1 inch on either side of the handlebars.
I love it, man. I'll bring it out all day long.
Racing each other, rubbing tires through it.
I love it all day long. I'll do it. But don't ask me to walk near that house. I won't even pee next to it. I go over by the garage.
Well, I like how he put the beer fridge inside the kitchen, where you have to do fucking Indiana Jones over a fucking like 35-foot pit with one little fucking 2x4 to get to the back door.
And for the record, I didn't know that. Do you know why I didn't know that?
Because you didn't go near the house.
I wouldn't go near the fucking house. No, that's a sling blade garage. Like, that's fucked up. Like, that is like bucket of lotion bad. There's no good that can come out of that property.
Oh, I should show you the cisterns underneath the front porch.
Negatory, good buddy. You know what? I keep my beer outside.
The little
That's
hatchways
fine.
that go into
you know what my favorite part of that whole thing is?
the
is that
little hatchways that go into pits that go into Infidium.
until John brought him to his senses, though, Steve was going to rehab that house. He was
I
like,
wanted to
you
no,
did.
I'm the other way around.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
wanted
It's the
to.
other way
He
around.
wants to spend $13,000 to
take it down.
I want to spend $13,000
To build
make
it up.
a decent house.
Right.
Dude, it's going to cost $20,000 just to get rid of the spiders.
Oh bullshit!
Well, we go down there with propane torches.
Yeah.
Those spiders are gone. And
You gotta
that's,
get-
I'm not going down there.
So is the house.
I'm not going down there until I have an Elon Musk rated
boring-
fucking
the
boring
boring-
company.
yeah.
I'm not going down there until I have a flamethrower with at least a 10-foot reach. Because fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way I'm going under that house, man. No way. No, that's dangerous.
I've been
That
down
shit
there
is
plenty of
kooky.
times. There's no problem. I like it down there.
You would. I don't. That's fine. That's cool.
You're like that commercial when the guy's like, oh, the Wi-Fi is better down here. He's like, how do you deal with the spiders? He's like, what spiders?
No, fuck that. That whole thing is sketch as fuck.
Yeah.
Look, we fixed all the trailers and the runoffs of the turns.
Yeah.
So all the places where we could run off the bike in the turn and kill yourself on a trailer that hasn't moved in 26 years.
And a boat.
We moved the trailers. We moved the boat. Right? Because
We got rid of the shards of metal that were
literally
sticking.
giant pieces of metal sticking up out of the ground. We got rid of that.
Yeah.
The front loader's
cement
still there to
blocks are
fuck you
still
up.
there.
Yeah, the cement block. No,
cement
we
block.
did move them. We moved them off a little bit. You have 2 feet now not to kill
Right.
yourself.
The impossible to move cement blocks have been moved over 3 feet.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
We
yeah.
cut all the trees out we could cut out.
But the roots are still there. The sideways throwing you roots.
I tried like hell. I killed his chainsaw and his chainsaw
Yeah,
trying to make
yeah,
those
yeah,
roots
yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
Can't make those roots go away.
And the wrong way jump that throws you
Yep.
onto your front wheel is still there. So
you like
that's
that,
good.
don't you, Steve?
Yeah,
that's
always
Steve's favorite one.
It is.
Steve's
When
favorite
I was
one.
chasing you and I forgot that was there, I was like,
We
oh.
call it ass over tea kettles.
Yeah.
It is the best, worst jump ever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's not really a jump. It's more of a bump. No, you just realize it's the worst engineered jump ever.
Right.
I'm
Going
hauling
this
ass.
way, going that
Yeah.
way, it's not too bad.
Oh, no. No, going the wrong way, it just throws you into the trees.
Right. Well,
'Cause the
there
way
is
it's in.
that. Right. Yeah.
I'm
I hit
going
it on my tractor a couple times. It's pretty fun.
I'm going way too fast for the conditions.
Yeah.
Like way too fast.
Oh, yeah.
And I can hear Steve behind me, and I'm like, that son of a bitch is trying to pass me on the jump. So I was like, you can't pass somebody on the jump.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so I
you
was like,
can.
I did the jump, probably the best I've ever done the jump. Like I balanced everything right. I landed perfectly on my suspension.
Yeah.
I was like, I got that. And then I heard you going, ah! And then I look and he's in a rose bush. And the rose bushes are like 3,000 years old.
Yeah.
So the prickers are like 6 inches long. They're like
if you hit
Tyrannosaurus
that thing
rose
at 15 miles an
Yeah.
hour, you're cool.
Oh, yeah, you're
20
fine.
miles an hour, you're 17 degrees the wrong direction.
dude.
Really badly,
Yeah.
really quick.
Oh, I've learned to respect that jump.
I'm so glad I broke that thing open.
We're up there like, he was like, I don't know. Should we turn that into a jump? No. And John's like, we need to turn that into a jump.
Yeah.
Of course you
Bring the saws over. We're cutting this bitch
There's
back.
a reason that J-Town faces it.
It does.
So he can watch.
We can watch people just eat shit on the jump.
That's right.
That jump is the most deceptive thing. 'Cause you're like, look, it's a little bump. It's not going to be bad. And then you realize you're like, oh no, I'm really going.
Yeah.
It's wrong coming and going.
It is wrong
The
coming and
problem
going.
is, it's not like it's coming out of a turn and you hit a jump.
No.
You have a 100-yard straightaway before the jump.
100 yards. You
Well,
don't have
50
100 yards
50 yards.
anywhere.
I was talking Cleveland Moto. Come on. 100 yards, dude.
You have 6 inches.
It's a 3-acre property.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You come out, if you go the berm shot in the brambles.
Right.
If you fight the brambles to get the berm shot.
Which,
which is-
wait. Before you go there,
Yeah.
when we started doing that berm,
Yeah.
before he moved it, we
Yeah.
didn't know that thing of soft grass
Yeah.
was actually
No,
like
it's concrete.
pipes and
It's
concrete.
concrete and shit. Absolutely. The one time I was making a turn and I blew it a little wide and I looked over and I was like, that's all concrete.
I know.
That's like one of those casket things they buried people in.
Do you remember when
Yeah.
we were racing and that one thing by his barn would throw you and
Yeah.
we would
The
miss
foundation
the barn,
of the
by
barn.
like
Yeah.
1 inch
Right.
of the barn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
The whole trick is if you could miss your handlebar and just not hit the corner of the barn,
You were
had
good.
it perfectly set up for the burn shot.
Yeah, right.
It's like riding motorcycles and playing the mousetrap game at the same time.
Yep.
It's just like, look, I got this. Steve's behind me. It'll be fine.
It's fine.
And then Steve's in front of me. Oh, I got to cut the next corner short to pass him up again.
Yeah.
It is fun. If you ever get a chance to come out to the compound, it's one of those weird things
We're
that
gonna have to do a winter session soon.
we do need to do a winter session.
Yeah.
We have a body of water that's frozen over that we can.
Not yet. Well, it's 70 degrees today, but when John was there, that fucker was frozen, man. We were ready to
I feel
go.
like it's going to freeze well once it
I do
gets
too.
cold.
Yeah.
I think that's
The
going
fact
to
that it
be.
was froze over and like totally because there was no wet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are we going to put screws in the tires or are we going to do little
hope so.
baby tire chains?
You know, there's different things you can do. It depends on what you want to do. I was just thinking of surfacing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you get a little bit of snow on it
Yeah.
and spray it down with water, then
Yep.
that'll just make you, make it a rough surface. You won't really need
So-
spikes. But if you want to spike it up, I mean, to each his own. Nobody's stopping you.
So since we last talked, I know I told you this, but since we last talked, I had my neighbors and I met the older guy, but the guy who actually runs the household.
What's
and
his name?
stuff, Phil Guy.
Ah, the guy.
The guy.
The guy.
The guy, his name's
The
Phil
guy's
Guy.
name is Phil Guy.
Yeah. So I meet him and he's totally cool. They make moonshine. We get along really well.
Yeah.
Make moonshine.
They make moonshine. He gave me some moonshine. And his brother is a fan of what I do, so like everything's kind of cool. And so we're talking and he's like, "So what do what are you guys into?"
I
And
brought
I'm
in
like,
some moonshine.
I got, we're into motorcycles. We like shooting stuff. And he's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, let me know when you're shooting. I'll bring over whatever you want. And you're good. There's nothing behind your property. You blow. I know all the sheriffs. You're good to go." And then I was like, I said, when the pond freezes over, we're going to have some mini big race. He goes, "Hold on." And I was like, "Uh-oh. Like, what's going on here?" He goes,
Yeah, hold on.
"You better fucking call me so I can come the fuck over." And I was
Oh,
like, "Okay,
yeah.
all right. This guy's all right, man.
Game on.
Yeah. So I think I lucked out, man. This is gonna be good.
You got a one piece Carhartt. Yeah. Like if you got yourself like a good, proper Thorogood, like a legit.
The tan one. Got to be tan.
Oh, you got to be tan. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of moonshine,
Yeah.
we make cranberry moonshine
Oh.
for the holidays. So
Oh.
Moonshine.
I think we've had that in years past.
We've had
yeah.
we've had your wassail.
Do you
We're bringing it to the next podcast.
Yeah, the Christmas spirit is
do you,
alive and well
do you
here.
do the popcorn Sutton thing, or what do you got? You got a little thumper tube, or
None of your fucking business.
okay? I'm just asking.
How about minding your own fucking business?
All right, then there you have it.
Yeah. You sit back and tell Rembrandt how to paint?
Yeah, no, I guess not. Right,
all
that's
right.
right, yeah.
All right. Just sit back and appreciate the results, motherfucker.
Meanwhile, it's toilet wine, but don't say anything.
Pruno, baby, Pruno.
Shut up and sip up.
I'm kidding. Oh man,
You're cut off, man. You're
Mrs.
cut off.
Smith just gave me the eye.
I got a bottle.
The still that I made in college.
Yeah.
I made a batch of vodka with it from potatoes and everything. Yeah. And they were like, well, we don't want to wait another month for a bottle of acetone.
Right.
So, so we took wine and distilled it just to get the alcohol out of it. Like this, we stole a big gallon cheap jug.
EJ
It was like,
EJG.
Franzia box wine and shit. Yeah.
It was from the art show. They had an art show, so Peggy was an art
Yeah.
student, so she went and stole these big bottles of wine.
And then they had a dental convention, and we sold these big bottles of nitrous, and it was
Right.
great. It was awesome.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I've got a couple of pints of the apple pie cinnamon shine in the back, so we have. Well, we're enjoying the holidays. Yeah, so that's all good.
Ruh-roh.
Ubers for all my friends. So that's it. So anybody looked at anything else?
No, I think
Hello to TJ and Eva. I skipped them.
Oh,
Sorry.
TJ Neva. Very good. Yeah, very good.
Ladies, thank you, ladies.
Shout out to all of our podcast viewers and listeners and Patreons. If you want to give money to this train wreck,
Thank you,
that's-
Patreons.
Yeah, Patreon.com.
I love the
Absolutely, yeah.
/ClevelandMoto.
I would like.
Sincerely, thanks to Pete.
Yep,
Yeah.
patrons. But also, I'd like to make a toast to all you guys and Oscar and Nick and
Yeah.
Steve who are not here.
Right.
Everybody who can't
Here's
be
to
with
all
us.
of us.
This is what gives us a thing to look forward to
It
every
does.
week.
Every week, yep.
You guys are all my best buddies,
Yep.
and I look forward to this every fucking week.
We
guys.
do. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yep.
Cheers.
It was a hobby that got wildly out of control.
Yes, it did.
That's it. Cool. So with that, guys,
Well, you
summer
know, the
cheer-
podcast was all about chasing away the winter blues.
That's exactly why we did it.
That's
Yeah.
why we typically we kind of laid off in the summer.
Yeah, we did.
But now we
in
pushed
the
through
old
all year.
episodes, if you go back to the way backs, we did that. We would record in the winter, and then the summer we'd be too busy, so we'd stop recording.
You should probably drop an old one.
I dropped one a couple of weeks ago.
No, but I'm like,
Yeah.
because we're gonna have a couple week.
Yeah. While I'm away.
you're in
Yeah.
Old Lang
Jamaica.
Syne.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep, that's right. We'll drop a couple of greatest hits or something like
Yep.
that.
But
So
hey,
that's cool.
we're gonna let me just say this before we go. So
Yep.
all the listeners to the podcast,
Yep.
we introduced a new segment tonight, which you'll see in a couple of weeks on Moto Stories, where you can ask Johnny Mac and Phil, but you know if he's not here, Johnny can cover it. A question about some kind of a motorcycle problem or whatever.
Right.
So maybe
Well, you know, I love podcast listener mail and stuff
does.
like that,
Yep.
especially the negative stuff.
So, but if
and
you,
I'd like you to challenge me. Maybe you can try to trip me up.
Stump the chump.
Sure, but if you have a question, if you have a legitimate motorcycle question, or John said he's open to sex questions, too,
He is.
either
He
one
said
of those two.
He's okay with relationship advice.
It's Motor Stories at unkiephil.com. That's Moto
Just be
Stories
ready
at
for what I tell you.
unkiephil.com.
Right.
Send us your question, and in the next few weeks, we're going to record again, and maybe John will answer your question.
It's good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that point, I mean, I'm done.
Jill, I think we should all ride fast and take chances.
Yes, sir.
Jingle, 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 jingle. Press the red button. Press the red button.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Listen to our podcast, or don't, because we don't care, but we love you anyway, and a Happy New Year.